You never know when you fall asleep. That moment just slips past you. 1 second you're in bed, eyes closed, maybe thinking about something that happened during the day. The next, you're gone. Time jumps forward without warning. You open your eyes again, and it's morning. A whole stretch of hours vanished, and you didn't feel it happen. People like to talk about being almost asleep. There's that hazy space where you feel your limbs get heavy, and your thoughts start to stretch and twist. You might feel like you're floating or falling. You might even jolt awake with a sudden kick. That part feels close. It feels like something you can catch. But the actual switch, the exact second when your brain turns off the lights and crosses over, that part stays out of reach. You never feel it. You can't remember it. And you never will. Try to focus on it tonight. Lay down and try to notice the moment it happens. Watch it. Wait for it. You'll lose. Every time. No matter how hard you try, the hand always slips away. Like trying to catch fog with your fingers. It's just not made to be held. It's not like fainting. Fainting is sudden. You lose time fast, and when you wake up, you know you were out. Sleep sneaks up on you. It pretends to let you watch, but it doesn't. It tricks you into thinking you're still awake while it's already pulling you under, like falling into a pool in slow motion, but by the time you realize you're underwater, you've already been sinking for minutes. This is something we all do every day, or most days. Sleep is a normal part of life. But the way it happens, the part where you go from being here to being nowhere, that's still a mystery. Even scientists can't explain it in simple terms. They can describe brainwaves, stages of sleep, and what happens after you're asleep. They can point to the parts of your brain that start to shut down. But none of that tells you what the moment itself feels like, because no one's ever caught it. It's strange when you think about how we try to be aware of so many things. We track steps, we measure calories, we count likes and views and hours worked. But we can't even hold on to the second we leave ourselves behind and sink into black. Something so personal, so regular, and still completely unreachable. You might think you remember falling asleep. You might think, yeah, last night I was lying there and I could feel myself slipping. But that's not the moment. That's the lead up. That's the edge of the drop. What you remember is the last thing before it. What comes after that is a blank, and then a dream, or the morning, or nothing. Imagine sitting in a room with the lights on. You're trying to notice the exact second they turn off, but someone else controls the switch, and they're quiet. No warning. 1 second there's light, the next dark. You're still sitting in the same chair. Everything feels the same, but the change already happened. That's what falling asleep is like. It also means there's a part of your life you'll never truly know. Every day it happens again, and you miss it every time. It's like a door you can never see open, but you always walk through it. You don't get to stand there and watch yourself go. You just disappear. Think about all the times you've said, "I can't sleep," and spent hours staring at the ceiling. Think about how that ends, not with some big final moment, but with nothing. You didn't notice the shift. It just swallowed you. Like blinking and finding out 8 hours passed. Even when you try to fight it, on a plane, on a couch, in a waiting room, it still gets you eventually. You might sit up, you might move around, but at some point, you lose the fight. Not dramatically, just quietly. You go under. And when you wake up, you won't remember the moment it took you. Now think about what that really means. If sleep takes you without you knowing, then there's a gap in your awareness every single day. There's a part of your life that isn't yours. Not really. You were there, but you weren't. Something else was in charge. Your breathing slowed. Your body shut down systems, and your brain pulled you into the dark. Maybe you dreamed. Maybe you didn't. You might remember flashes of faces or strange places that never existed. You might remember flying or falling or shouting without sound. But those are scraps, leftovers. They aren't the moment. They aren't the fall. Sometimes people say they can feel themselves drifting. But drifting isn't falling. It's the lead up again. It's the boat getting pulled by the current, not the crash into silence. You never get that part. You're not allowed to. It's possible to notice the moment you wake up. That part can be sharp. Your eyes open. You know where you are. You feel the sheets. Maybe you hear something. A bird, a car, the hum of a fan. Waking has a clear start. Falling, asleep doesn't. And that might be the strangest part of all. You get to know the beginning of the day. You just don't get to know the end of the night. You can tell someone when you woke up, maybe down to the minute. But if they ask when you fell asleep, you'll guess. You'll make something up. Around midnight, you'll say. Or it took me forever. But you don't know. You never did. Even people who track their sleep with smartwatches aren't really catching the moment. The tech shows patterns. It shows movement, heart rate, and estimates. It's not the moment. You won't see a single second where you left the waking world. Because that second doesn't show up. It hides every time. So much of life feels like it should be knowable. You can learn how your heart works. You can learn how your brain fires, neurons. You can know your blood type, your IQ score, your ancestry. You can measure breath, pulse, and blood sugar. But you'll never feel yourself fall asleep. That will always be something you live through without seeing. It's one of the few things you do all the time and never fully experience, like turning the page of a book in the dark. You can feel the motion, but you don't know what you just changed. The story goes on. You keep reading, but the act of turning, the actual shift, is gone. Every night, you fall asleep. Every night, it wins, and you never get to say goodbye to yourself before you go. You might think your memories are like videos, stored somewhere in your mind, waiting for you to play them back. But they're not. They don't sit on a shelf untouched. You don't open them like files and get a clean replay. What actually happens is stranger. Every time you remember something, you rebuild it from scratch. The brain doesn't pull out a perfect recording. It pulls out scattered pieces, sensations, emotions, smells, flashes of images, and reassembles them. The result feels true, but it's not exact. That means every time you remember, you risk changing the memory without knowing. Take a simple example. You think back to your 10th birthday. You remember the cake, maybe chocolate with blue icing. You remember the sound of everyone singing. You picture the presents and the moment the candles went out. It feels solid. But did it really happen that way? What color was the tablecloth? Was your cousin there, or was that a different year? Did it rain that morning, or is that something your brain added from another day? You might say it doesn't matter, but the truth is, your memory is already stitched together with guesses. Small ones at first, but over time, they pile up. Every time you retrieve a memory, your brain opens the file, updates it, and puts it back. But it doesn't save the original version. It saves the one you just edited. You don't realize it, but you're doing it all the time. Let's say you had an argument with someone 5 years ago. At the time, it felt complicated. You were angry, but maybe you also felt guilty or confused. When you think back now, your current feelings color it. If you've moved on, you might downplay how upset you were. If you're still hurt, you might exaggerate how cold the other person was. The more you revisit that memory, the more it changes. You can't stop it. It's how memory works. It gets worse. You're not the only one reshaping your memories. Other people help too. Let's say your brother tells you, you cried during that birthday party because you dropped your cake. You don't remember that, but now that idea exists in your head. Next time you think of that birthday, maybe you start to see a blurry image of yourself crying. It fits with what he said. Now it feels real. Your brain has filled in the gap. Later, you might say, yeah, I cried at that party, without a second thought. That's not a lie. You believe it. But it came from outside. There's a term for this. Psychologists call it memory reconsolidation. It means that each time you recall a memory, it enters a fragile state. During that window, anything from a new emotion to a random comment can change it. Then your brain seals it up again, but it's not the same version. It's been patched over. Some parts are clearer, some are fuzzier, others are just wrong. Think about eyewitnesses. Two people watch the same car crash. One says the car was red, the other says blue. One remembers a loud bang. The other says it was silent until the moment of impact. They both believe they're right. They're not lying. Their brains just built two different stories from the same event. Stress, fear, even the wording of a question can twist the memory before it settles. Did you see the broken headlight? Plants an idea. Did you see a broken headlight? Doesn't. The difference is tiny. The result is huge. Your mind does this even with people. Someone who made you laugh once might become your funny friend, even if they rarely joke. You remember them that way. It shapes your view of them. Over time, those ideas build a kind of storybook in your head. You don't just remember events. You remember versions of people. Those versions feel stable, but they're made out of memories. And if the memories are warped, the people are too. It works on yourself as well. Think about how you picture your teenage self. You might see someone awkward or angry or confused. You might feel embarrassed about what they said or wore. But did it really go down the way you think? Or have you smoothed over the parts that hurt? Have you made yourself seem smaller or louder or better than you were? That image becomes part of how you understand who you are now, but it's based on rewrites. You don't mean to do it. No one does. The brain isn't trying to fool you. It's trying to keep a working model of your life. But it's working with limited material, sensory, fragments, feelings, voices, impressions. It uses what it has and makes its best guess. Over time, the guess becomes the truth in your head. That's why people can believe with total certainty that something happened, even if it didn't. It's not that they're wrong on purpose. Their brain has handed them a complete picture. It just doesn't match what actually happened. Sometimes, this protects you. Your brain might dull the sharp edges of a painful moment. You remember the breakup, but not the exact words. You remember the funeral, but not the sound of someone crying in the next row. That blurring can help you carry on. But it also means that the past you live with is edited. A little softer, a little simpler, maybe even a little false. Now imagine what that means for every story you've ever told. You think you're sharing what happened, but you're sharing your version. That version might be off by a little or a lot. A detail skipped here, a mood shifted there. Over years, you could be telling a memory that bears almost no resemblance to the real thing. But you'd never know. It feels the same. It carries the same weight. You laugh or cry just the same. The facts are gone, but the emotion stays. That's why it's so hard to trust memory in arguments. Two people remember the same day completely differently. Each one feels right. Each one believes their side. Neither is lying. But both are telling bent stories. And those stories keep bending every time they're told. Even your earliest memories are suspect. You think you remember sitting in a high chair or holding a balloon at a fair. But many of those memories start with photographs or things people told you. You fill in the blanks. You make it feel like a memory, even if it started with a story. In some cases, you remember remembering it more than you remember the event. You live inside your memories. They shape who you are. But they're not bricks. They're clouds. They change shape when you touch them. You chase them, and they slip through your hands. You rely on them, but they shift beneath you. They comfort you and fool you at the same time. Every memory you hold has been rebuilt, not just once, dozens of times, maybe hundreds, and every time it changed a little more. It's still yours. It still feels real, but it's not the original. and it never will be again. Other people carry around versions of you that don't match who you are. They have images of you built from what you've said, what you've done, how you looked when you walked into a room, or how you laughed at the wrong time. You don't get to correct them, even if they're wrong. And they will be wrong. Maybe just a little, maybe a lot. You only get to control so much. The rest, once it leaves your mouth or your face or your silence, belongs to whoever saw it. Imagine walking into a room. You don't say anything, but you don't need to. Someone watches the way you hold your arms. They think, she's shy, or he's full of himself, or they don't want to be here. They build that thought around a glance. Now, that version of you, silent, arms crossed, face blank, sticks in their head. That version gets stitched into their idea of who you are. Maybe they'll keep it. Maybe they'll share it. Either way, it's out of your hands. Sometimes it gets worse. Maybe you were tired. Maybe you snapped at someone. Maybe you made a joke that landed flat. That one moment, pulled out of everything else, might be what someone remembers most about you. That version of you gets louder in their head than any other moment you've ever shared with them. You might not even remember the moment yourself, but it lives on without your permission. You exist as one person to yourself, but you exist as many people in the minds of others. To one person, you might be the girl who never calls back. To another, you're the guy who once helped carry groceries in the rain. You might be a good listener to someone, a show-off to someone else. To the clerk at the gas station, you're the one who always pays in coins. To a friend from school, you're still frozen in time, exactly how you were at 17, like you never changed. Now imagine someone who knew you years ago. You haven't seen them in a decade. They still think of you as the quiet one, or the flake, or the kid who cried during the school trip. You've changed since then. You've learned things. You've grown or shrunk or bent yourself in ways they'd never expect. But unless they meet you again, their version of you never updates. It's like an old photo they keep on the wall. It never moves. It never ages. And it's not really you anymore. This happens in small ways too. A coworker thinks you're cold because you don't talk much. They never guessed you're just nervous around new people. A neighbor thinks you're unfriendly because you didn't wave. They never saw you didn't notice them. A friend thinks you don't care because you didn't text back in time. They don't know you've been drowning in your own mess. You can try to correct people's versions of you. You can explain. You can show up, be kind, apologize, listen, speak. But even then, it doesn't always stick. People hear what they want. They fill in blanks. They decide what your silence meant, what your face meant, what your absence meant. Sometimes their version of you fits their story better than the truth, and it's easier to keep the version that fits. Some versions of you aren't based on mistakes either. Some are just incomplete. Think of how many people only know your name, or your job title, or what you look like from across the street. They've got a thread, not the whole rope. And sometimes a thread is all it takes. The barista sees you every morning and thinks of you as double espresso guy. That's it. That's your role in their day. And that's not wrong, but it's not the whole of you either. It never will be. And then there are the versions of you built on stories other people tell. Someone describes you to someone else. He's always late. She talks too much. They're brilliant but hard to deal with. That person, the one you've never met, now has an image of you in their head. Maybe they meet you one day. Maybe they don't. But even if they do, that first image sticks like a shadow. You start behind the line. You walk into a room where someone has already decided who you are. Now flip it around. Think about how many versions you carry of other people. You've got a file in your head for your old teacher, your first crush, the person who was rude to you at the store last week. You don't know what kind of day they were having. You don't know what's changed since then. But their version lives in your head just the same. Maybe you don't even realize it's there, shaping how you see them when their name comes up or when you pass them on the street. It's strange to think about how scattered you are. You are one person in here, in your head. But you exist in hundreds of other heads, maybe thousands. Some of those versions are warm. Some are sharp. Some are based on 5 seconds. Some are based on years. And none of them match the version you live with. You could spend your whole life trying to fix that gap and still never close it. There are people who hate the version of you they made up. People who miss a version of you that no longer exists. People who remember a version of you that was never real in the first place. And you'll never meet half of them. You'll never even know their names, but they've got pieces of you anyway, like souvenirs from a place they only visited once. Sometimes you might wonder who you really are if all these versions exist. Are you the version you believe in, or the sum of how others see you? The answer's slippery. The truth is, you are the only one who has access to the full story. Everyone else is working off the scraps you leave behind. Your words, your actions, your silences, your absence. They piece it together however they can, and it might not be fair. You don't get to rewrite what's already been said or done. You don't get to walk into someone's head and rearrange the pieces. You don't get to tap them on the shoulder and say, "That's not who I am." You just have to live with the fact that you're everywhere, but never whole. You are misunderstood versions of yourself walking through other people's lives, and they all think they know you, but none of them do. Not completely. Only you do. Maybe not even you. You last held a toy without knowing it. That sounds simple at first, maybe even childish. But think about it. Think about the last time you picked up a toy, really picked one up to play with it, or even just to hold it. Maybe it was a little plastic figure you used to carry around. Maybe it was a stuffed animal that sat on your bed for years. Maybe it was a toy car, a cheap one, all chipped paint and loose wheels. At the time, it didn't feel like the last time. You didn't hold it in your hands and think, "This is it. After this moment, I will never play again." You just moved on. That toy was put down and something else took its place. Books, phones, screens, worries. And the toy stayed behind. Maybe it ended up in a box or a closet, or passed along to someone else who didn't know your name. Maybe it was thrown out. But the point is that you didn't mark the moment. It slipped past you. That's how most endings go. Quiet, unnoticed. That last moment with your toy didn't come with a curtain drop or a big farewell. There was no pause, no whisper that said, "Remember this." You just grew. You changed. Your hands got bigger. Your mind filled with other things. You became someone new, little by little, and that version of you, who clutched that toy like it was everything, is gone now. Still part of you, in a way, but unreachable. That version of you no longer gets a say. They never got to say goodbye. Maybe it was a plush bear with one eye missing. Maybe it smelled like your room, like dust and sun. Maybe it was sticky from too many meals eaten with it on your lap. You gave it names. You talked to it when no one else listened. It sat by your side when you were sick. You might have brought it on long car rides, across state lines, to new schools and strange bedrooms. That toy had more miles than most people's, shoes. And then, one day, you set it down, probably without thinking. You got up, walked away, and never came back. You didn't know it would be the last time. That's the strange thing. If you had known, maybe you would have lingered. Maybe you would have looked at it a little longer, smiled, pressed it close, felt the soft spots rubbed thin by years of touch. Maybe you would have said, "Thank you," but you didn't. You just moved on. That's how time works. It doesn't knock. It doesn't announce itself. One day, you're lying on the carpet with your knees tucked under you, building cities out of blocks, giving voices to dinosaurs, spinning, wild stories no one else hears. The next day, the blocks are dusty and the stories are gone. They evaporate, like breath on cold glass. You start using words like deadlines, projects, meetings. You talk less about adventures and more about to-do lists. The toy is still somewhere, maybe in a drawer, maybe in a bin at the bottom of the closet, but you haven't touched it in years. What if it had feelings? That's something kids believe. but adults pretend not to. But still, what if it did? What if the toy noticed when you stopped showing up? What if it still waits, tucked in a corner, hoping you'll come back? You won't, of course. You've outgrown it. Your fingers reach for other things now: wallets, phones, doorknobs, steering wheels. But that toy held a piece of you that doesn't exist anymore. And maybe it's the only thing that remembers. Maybe your last toy wasn't even your favorite. Maybe it was just the one left at the end, the one you played with out of habit. Maybe you didn't even like it that much. But still, it was there, in your hands. And then not. Maybe you gave it away. Maybe it broke and you didn't bother to fix it. Maybe you left it behind in a house you never visited again. This happens with more than toys. It happens with everything. You last did a lot of things without knowing it was the last time. You last walked out of your high school. You last closed the door to your childhood room. You last spoke to some people who once mattered deeply to you. And in none of those moments did you feel the finality. You just did it, then moved on. That's how life works. It keeps going. No dramatic music, no warning label. One day you do something for the last time and you don't even realize it. Think about how small your hands once were, how tightly they held onto things that made you feel safe. That stuffed rabbit with the frayed ear, the rubber ball with the bite marks in it, the plastic knife with a sword you chewed on until it bent. You gave them names, you gave them meaning. They didn't just entertain you, they anchored you. In a world that often didn't make sense, those toys did. You could hold them, twist them, line them up, knock them down. You were in control. Now you live in a world where you control far less. The people in your life come and go. The rules keep changing. Everything moves faster. You don't build things out of blocks anymore, and you don't talk to teddy bears. You scroll, you reply, you pay bills, you show up, you survive. But there was a time when you woke up, and the first thing you reached for was not your phone, but a soft bear, or a squeaky rubber duck, or a spaceship made of cheap plastic. And for a little while, that was enough. So yes, you last held a toy without knowing it. And maybe you're still carrying that loss somewhere in you. Not because you want the toy back, but because you miss the version of yourself who needed it. That small, quiet version of you who looked at the world with wonder, who built entire universes from cereal boxes and couch cushions, who cried when a toy broke, not because it was expensive, but because it felt alive. That version of you deserved a better goodbye. Maybe that's why we keep things. Old toys in boxes, childhood drawings, school photos. Not because we need them, but because we're trying to hold on to the feeling, to mark something that passed us by too quietly, to say, I was here, I felt this, I remember, even if we don't. And somewhere, maybe in a landfill, or a dusty attic, or the bottom of a stranger's toy chest, your last toy still exists, worn, forgotten. But once, it was everything. Once, it was the center of your world. Once, it was the last thing you held before you let childhood go. Your body changes, but you stay. That sounds simple, even comforting. But if you sit with that thought, it starts to stretch out in your mind. It stops being simple, it turns strange. Think about it long enough, and it becomes hard to tell where your body ends and you begins. This is one of those thoughts that hides in the back of your mind until the lights are off and the room gets quiet. Then it floats up to the surface. You stare at the ceiling. You wonder what it means. You've had so many bodies already, even if you've only ever been one person. You were a newborn once, small, soft, and helpless. You didn't know how to move your arms on purpose. You didn't know words. You didn't even know you existed. That body is long gone. None of those cells are still with you. They all died, flaked off, or were replaced. And yet, you were still you. Then came childhood. You ran barefoot in the grass. You got bruises on your knees. You lost your baby teeth one by one and left them under your pillow. Your bones grew longer, your hair darkened or lightened. You may have broken a bone, had stitches, got sick, got better. Every year, your body turned into something else. But you, the feeling of being in there somewhere, remained. By the time you hit your teens, your body was on fast forward. Hormones pulled the strings. Your voice changed. Your face shifted shape. Your skin looked different in the mirror. You might have hated it, loved it, or just endured it. You learned to recognize this version of yourself, but it wasn't going to last long. It never does. Now look at you. You're older, maybe just barely, maybe a lot. But wherever you are in time, one thing is true. Your body has changed again. Some of the changes are slow and silent. You shed about 500 million skin cells every day. You don't feel it happen, but it happens anyway. You get a whole new outer layer of skin every month. That means you'll go to sleep one night and wake up with a slightly different face. Not one you chose, not one you noticed forming. Every 7 to 10 years, most of the cells in your body will have died off and been replaced. The turnover isn't exact or uniform. Neurons in your brain mostly stay. Your tooth enamel doesn't regenerate, but your bones rebuilt, your liver recycled, your stomach lining replaced in days. You eat, sleep, and breathe. And with every minute that passes, your body becomes a little less like the one you had before. But you stay. At least, that's what it feels like. You still say I when you talk about your day. You look in the mirror and see someone familiar. Maybe you recognize the eyes. Maybe the way your mouth curves when you smile. But even your face has been rewritten many times over, cell by cell. Think about your hands. Those same hands once held crayons, sippy cups, backpacks. They wrote love notes and tapped on glass screens. They've held someone else's hand and let go. The skin on them has changed. The bones inside them have been reshaped. But you still call them your hands. This brings up a strange question. If your body keeps changing, what exactly is you? Is it your thoughts, your memories? Those shift too. You forget things. You misremember. Your personality grows and bends over time. You act different in different situations. You're not the same around strangers as you are alone. You've probably believed things you don't believe now. You've changed your mind. You've broken habits. You've built new ones. And yet, the idea of you holds steady. Maybe that's what makes this such a deep, quiet truth. You are like a ship sailing through time. Parts of you fall away. Others get patched in. The sails tear. The boards get replaced. You repaint it. You rename it. But somehow, it still feels like the same ship. Philosophers call this the ship of Theseus. If you replace every part of a ship over time, is it still the same ship? If you replace every cell in your body over time, are you still the same person? There's no clear answer, but you feel like you are. You wake up each day and pick up where yesterday left off. Even if the details shift, the feeling of I am me never leaves. Some people find that idea comforting. It means you can grow and survive anything. You're not trapped in who you used to be. You can reinvent yourself over and over again and still be you. But for others, this idea feels eerie. If everything keeps changing, how do you ever hold on to anything? Think of a scar you have. Maybe it came from a bike fall or a surgery. It's a mark your body decided to keep long after the moment passed. Scars don't form on cells that stay the same. They form on the ones that died and got replaced over and over until the pattern froze in place. Even your injuries are built out of change. Somewhere in your life, you laughed until you cried. Somewhere else, you cried until you couldn't speak. Your body carried you through all of it, even when you didn't know what it was doing. Your heart kept beating. Your lungs kept filling and emptying. Your blood kept moving. And none of those cells lasted forever. None of them had names, but they made your life possible. You don't need to think about it to make it happen. Your body keeps going without permission. Hair grows, nails grow, wounds close, skin peels and heals. Blood cells die and get made again. It's a quiet system. It doesn't need applause. It just keeps replacing parts, keeping the illusion whole. If your body didn't do this, you'd fall apart fast. You'd wear down, you'd rot. But because it changes, you keep going. You get another day, another chance to grow, to move, to think, to be. And while all of that happens, there's something inside you that says, this is still me. Maybe that voice is quieter than it used to be. Maybe it got sharper, wiser, or more tired, but it's still there. It still claims your name. It still says I when you speak. You are not the same person you were 10 years ago. Not on the outside, not on the inside. But when you think back, it feels like that person was you. Somehow, your sense of self reached across all that change and said, yes, that was me then, and this is me now. So your body changes. You shed skin, grow hair, lose cells, heal wounds. You age, you stretch, you shrink, you sag, you scar, you transform, but you stay. One day, your name dies. It sounds dramatic, but it's true. Your name, first, last, the full sound of it spoken out loud, won't live forever. No matter how many times it's been printed, signed, whispered, or shouted across a field, there will come a day when no one says it anymore. Not because they've decided to forget you, not out of anger or spite, but because time does what it always does. It moves forward, it keeps going, and it takes things with it. Think about your own name. Say it in your head, say it once. That sound is attached to you right now. It's on your mail, it's on your ID, your phone, your documents, maybe even on your uniform or your mailbox. People use it to call you across rooms, to ask for your attention, to get you to look up. Your name is part of how others confirm your existence. Without it, you'd just be a face. You'd still exist, sure, but you'd be missing that small, precise label that lets people point to you and say, yes, them, that's the one. Now think about the names of people who came before you. Your great-grandparents, for example. Maybe you remember one or two of their names. Maybe you've seen them on an old grave marker or a dusty photo album. But go back another generation. Their names start to fade. Go back a few more, and they vanish entirely. Try naming 5 people who were alive in your family 200 years ago. Most can't. Their names are gone. Their voices too. Their stories erased, or at best buried in someone else's version. Even famous names fade. We remember some of them, Napoleon, Shakespeare, Cleopatra, but for every name that stays, millions disappear. Think about all the soldiers in every war, the workers who built the railroads, the artists whose work was never shown. They had names too. At some point, someone said them with love or with anger. Someone wrote them on a piece of paper or called out to them across a room. But now, they're quiet. No one says those names. No one remembers how their voices sounded. The sound of their name has vanished into silence. Imagine someone finds a box in an attic 50 years from now. Inside, they see old letters. Maybe some of them are yours. Maybe your name is on the envelope. The person holding it doesn't know you. Your name doesn't mean anything to them. It's just ink, fading on paper. They'll squint at it, try to make it out, maybe say it once, mispronounced. Then they'll move on. That was your name, spoken for the last time. It doesn't matter how often your name appears online. Social media, websites, even books, they all vanish eventually. Platforms shut down, servers crash, files get lost or deleted, printed words crumble or get thrown out. And when there's no one left who remembers how to say it, your name dies. Not with a loud bang. It just stops getting used. It slips out of daily life, and then out of memory. And then it's gone. Maybe your name will live on for a little while, in a family tree, a dusty list in someone's drawer, or a digital file on a genealogy site. But even there, it becomes a number and a date, a birth year, a dash, a death year. Your name is read once, maybe twice, by someone squinting at a screen, trying to trace their roots. They see it and pause. That's interesting, they might say. Then they click to the next one. Some names stay longer than others. A person who changes the world might have their name remembered. A scientist who discovers something big. A leader, a writer, someone who leaves behind records, monuments, things with weight. But even those names fade. In a few thousand years, most of today's names, yours, mine, even the powerful ones, will be gone. They'll sound old-fashioned or strange, or they'll be forgotten completely. Think about how your name came to be. Someone gave it to you. Maybe your parents picked it for a reason. Maybe you were named after someone. Maybe it just sounded nice. It was said aloud the day you were born, written on your first forms, maybe a birth certificate. You heard it for the first time without even understanding it. And then, little by little, it became yours. You started turning your head when people said it. You wrote it on school papers. You scratched it into the back of notebooks. You learned to answer to it. It became a part of you. Over the years you changed, but your name stayed. Or maybe you changed your name. You picked something that felt more like who you are, something that fit. Either way, that name became a shortcut for everything you are. Your whole life bundled into a few letters and a sound. But still, just like the old ones, it will vanish. Imagine someone calling your name one last time, not knowing it's the last. Maybe a nurse in a hospital, a friend, or a stranger reading it from a tag or a list. They say it out loud, maybe softly, maybe in a rush, and after that, silence. There's no ceremony for that moment, no announcement, just one less person saying it, and then another, until no one does. It's not a punishment, it's not unfair, it's just how things work. Time smooths everything out. It presses down on stories, memories, and names until they flatten, until they disappear. That's true for all of us, for the kings and the farmers, for the authors and the unknown. Names are temporary. Even when they last a little longer than expected, they still end. There's something quiet about knowing that. Something strange and peaceful. Your name, the one you carry every day, will have its time. It will be used, heard, spoken, written, sung, and maybe even shouted. And then, someday it won't be. Not out of cruelty, not because you didn't matter, but because everything ends eventually, even names. So say your name now once more, just to hear it, just to remember it's yours, for now. No one hears your thoughts like you do. You carry an entire world in your head, and no one else will ever walk through it. You might share some of it in words or gestures or looks, but no one gets the full picture. Not even the people closest to you. And maybe not even you. Your thoughts don't come out the same way they exist inside. You can feel a thought so clearly it aches, but once you try to say it out loud, it changes. It slips away like steam off a boiling pot. You reach for it, try to pin it down in a sentence, but it refuses to stay still. That moment when you say, "I don't know how to explain it," that's the closest you can get. The feeling remains, but the words don't hold it right. This happens every day. You walk around with ideas, memories, opinions, and feelings stacked in layers. Some are loud and sharp. Some hide under the others, quiet and old. Maybe you remember a smell from when you were 7. Maybe that smell brings up a feeling, but you can't say why. Maybe the color of the sky makes you sad. But if someone asked, "What's wrong?" you'd have no real answer. That's your mind talking to itself. It's constant and it's private. You might never say most of it. And even if you tried, no one would hear it the way you do. Other people can only guess. They see your face, hear your voice, read your words, but they don't hear the thought before it turns into sound. They don't hear the part you changed before you spoke. Maybe you decided not to say the full truth. Maybe you made it softer, less weird, more polite. Maybe you didn't say it at all. It's still in your head, but it never made it out. You live with that kind of silence all the time. Not empty silence, a full, buzzing silence packed with thought. When you're alone, the noise in your head can fill the whole room. You might replay something you said 5 years ago and feel embarrassed all over again. You might imagine a fight you'll never have, You might plan a whole conversation with someone who isn't even in your life anymore. That's your brain doing laps inside itself. No one hears those loops but you. No one else has access to the mess. Even if you tried to explain it, the shape would shift. It always does. This is why some people feel lonely even in a room full of others. You can be surrounded by love and still feel like a ghost. Not because you're unloved, but because no one can sit inside your head with you. You might laugh with friends, nod in agreement, feel the joy of being seen. But when you're back in bed, staring at the ceiling, the thoughts come back. Yours alone, heard by no one but you. And then there are the thoughts you don't even notice at first. Background chatter. The ones that whisper while you're brushing your teeth or waiting for the microwave. They aren't loud, they just hum, like, why did I do that? Is this what I want? What if I never figure it out? These thoughts stay under the surface, barely formed, but they shape your mood. They might make you tired, or restless, or quiet. And when someone asks what's wrong, you still don't know how to explain it. You live with a constant audience of one. You think in your own voice, or maybe in different voices. Maybe you argue with yourself, or joke with yourself, or talk yourself out of things. That inner voice never stops. It's there when you fall asleep and when you wake up. Sometimes it speaks with kindness, sometimes it picks you apart. And here's something stranger. Your inner voice has been with you your whole life, but it's changed. The things you used to think about as a child would sound foreign to you now. Your tone, your doubts, your way of understanding the world, it all shifted. But because the change was so slow, you never noticed it happening. You just became someone else layer by layer. No one else sees those layers stack up. They only see the current version. They don't know the paths your thoughts took to get here. They don't know the old rules you believed in, the moments that shaped you, or the quiet promises you've made to yourself in the dark. Even if you told them, they wouldn't hear it like you do. Think about your favorite song, the one that makes you feel something deep. Now think about trying to explain why it hits so hard. Maybe it reminds you of a moment, or a person, or just a feeling. But when you try to explain it, the words fall flat. You can describe the melody, the lyrics, the time of day you first heard it, but the full impact stays locked inside you. Only you hear it in that way. That's what your thoughts are like. You can share the outline, but never the full sound, and it gets more tangled when your thoughts turn against you, when you think something dark, or scary, or confusing, when you lie awake asking, am I okay? What if this never stops? That kind of fear doesn't always come with logic. It's a feeling that fills the room. And even when you say it out loud, I'm feeling anxious, I'm not myself, the words can't hold the full shape. No one hears it the way you do. They can care, they can comfort, but they can't hear the thought at its source. This doesn't mean no one understands you. It just means no one hears you like you hear yourself. Your inner world is built from your past, your senses, your experiences. It's wired in a way that only makes full sense to you, and sometimes not even then. This is why people write journals, why they make music or paint or scream into pillows. They're trying to translate the private noise, trying to make the inside visible. But translation always loses something. The full truth of the thought stays inside, heard only by you. So you keep thinking. You ride the loops. You hold on to secrets. You make up stories. You comfort yourself. You argue with yourself. You daydream entire lives. All of it happens behind your eyes. No subtitles, no second witness. Even when someone says, I know what you mean, they don't. Not really. They know what they mean, based on their version of the thought. They've never sat inside your head. They've never heard your thoughts the way you do. They never will. The universe doesn't care you exist. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't love you. It just doesn't notice you at all. That truth hits hard when you really think about it. You're here, breathing, thinking, wondering. You build your life around meaning. You chase happiness, avoid pain, plan for the future. But out there, past your city, past the clouds, past the edge of Earth's atmosphere, there is no plan. Just silence, just space. Earth orbits the sun, which burns without reason. It doesn't shine for us. It doesn't know we're here. It's a massive ball of gas, mostly hydrogen, fusing atoms under pressure, releasing heat and light into the void. That light takes about 8 minutes to reach us. You can stand outside on a summer day, feel it on your skin, but the sun never aimed it at you. It has no aim. It just burns. Beyond the sun are other stars, billions of them. Some are much larger. Some are dying. Some have already died, but their light still travels through space, heading in all directions, including here. That light crosses time. It passes abandoned planets and black holes. It moves through galaxies that spin with no purpose. Nothing out there knows you're watching. You could wave, cry, scream, or whisper to the sky, but the sky won't answer. It never has. It never will. The Earth itself doesn't care. It spins on its axis, tilts just enough to give us seasons, floats through space, dragged along by the sun's gravity. It isn't your home by choice. It didn't build mountains or carve rivers for your joy. It's a result of collisions and dust and pressure and time. It's been through ice ages and heat waves, meteor strikes and extinctions. It survived without us for 4 billion years. It would go on without us just the same. You may think you're the center of your story, and in a way you are. You're the one seeing, feeling, deciding. You wake up and live inside your head every day. Your problems feel big. Your joys feel rare. You wonder if any of it matters. But to the universe, it doesn't. There is no audience, no scoreboard, no great balance sheet keeping track of what you've done or failed to do. When people say everything happens for a reason, they usually mean well. But they're wrong. Most things just happen. Imagine a child building a sandcastle on the beach. They pat down the towers, carve out windows, press shells into the walls. They think it's beautiful. To them, it is. But the ocean doesn't care. The tide will rise. The waves will reach it. They won't pull back out of kindness or wait until the child is ready. The sea never notices. The castle crumbles, and the water keeps moving. That's how the universe works. You might feel small hearing this. That's okay. You are small. Your body is made of cells, each doing its job without you thinking about it. Those cells are built from molecules, which are built from atoms, which formed in the heart of ancient stars that exploded long before Earth even existed. You're made of stardust, yes, but so is garbage, so is everything. Being made of stars doesn't make you special. It just means you're part of the same system. A system with no interest in how you're doing. Look up at the night sky. You're seeing the past. Light from stars thousands of years old is only just reaching your eyes. One of those stars might have planets. One of those planets might have life. That life might be looking back right now, but they won't see you. Not now. Not ever. They'd need a telescope strong enough to peer through time and space, and even then, they'd see Earth as it was before you were born. You might think, well, what about love? What about art? What about the joy I feel when I hear a song or hold someone's hand? All those things matter. They matter to you. They matter to the people you share them with. But they don't echo into space. They don't ripple across galaxies. They stop at the edge of your world. The universe doesn't record them. It doesn't file them away in some cosmic archive. It lets them happen, then move on. Time itself doesn't slow down for you. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't pause while you figure things out. You age whether or not you want to. Cells divide, then stop dividing. Organs wear down, hair grays, skin wrinkles. Your body follows a script written in your DNA, but no one's reading it. When you die, the atoms that make you will return to the earth, break down, scatter. Maybe they'll feed a tree, maybe they'll drift into the ocean, but they won't carry your story. You will be forgotten. It's hard to admit. Even if you're famous, even if your name ends up in books. The people who read about you won't know you. Not really. You'll become an idea, a symbol, a paragraph in a classroom. The real you, the one who laughed at dumb jokes, who stared too long in the mirror, who couldn't fall asleep some nights, will vanish. Your thoughts, your voice, your favorite smell, gone. Not because you didn't matter to someone, but because time swallows everything. People once worshipped gods no one remembers now. They built cities that sank into the ground. They carved their names into stone, thinking stone would last forever. But stone cracks. Rain falls. Wind carries sand across everything. The universe doesn't stop to mourn them. It didn't stop for them. It won't stop for us. Even language fades. Whole tongues disappear. Scripts turn unreadable. Meaning dies when no one's left to understand it. The universe doesn't speak in words. It speaks in force, in mass, in spin and charge and speed. It speaks in radiation and decay, in gravity and collision. It doesn't tell stories. It doesn't dream. There are black holes so massive they could eat our entire solar system. At their center, matter collapses into a single point, so dense, so strange, we can't even describe it properly. Nothing escapes, not even light. And yet, they don't growl or roar. They don't seek out planets. They just sit there, warping space, bending time, unbothered by us. You could scream your name into the void, and nothing would answer. You could cry your fears to the stars, and they'd shine just the same. They shine whether you look or not. They shine for no one. That silence can feel cruel, but it's not meant to be. It just is. The universe isn't cold because it wants to be. It isn't distant because it chose to be. It simply exists. Laws of physics, clouds of gas, endless, expansion. We float in it. We live for a flicker. We go out. So, yes, the universe doesn't care you exist. And maybe that's the most honest thing you'll ever hear. You never see your real face. That might sound strange at first. You look in the mirror every day. You take photos of yourself all the time. You watch videos where your face appears. Yet the truth is, you never actually see your own face directly, in the way others do. You see a reflection or an image made by a camera, but that is not the same as seeing your face with your own eyes. Think about what happens when you look in a mirror. The mirror shows you a flipped version of your face. Left becomes right, and right becomes left. If you raise your right hand, the mirror shows your reflection raising its left hand. This flipped image is familiar to you, so it feels like your face. But your friends or family see you as you really are, not flipped. They see the true orientation of your features. Imagine you meet someone for the first time. They see your face from the front, unflipped and real. They see your eyes, your nose, your mouth arranged exactly as they are. You only ever see your face flipped in a mirror or flat in a photo. You never get to see your own face exactly how it appears to others. Even when you watch a video of yourself, it is still not quite the same as seeing your face with your own eyes. The video is a recording. It plays back the image captured by a camera. Your eyes never see your face directly, from the front. It is impossible for you to do that. You can only look at parts of your face by turning your head, or by using reflective surfaces. But to see the whole face at once, you rely on images or reflections. Now imagine you are in a room with a big mirror on the wall. You stand in front of it and look at your face. You see your eyes looking back at you. You see your lips, your skin, the shape of your jaw. But this is still a reflection. Light bounces off your face, hits the mirror, and then bounces into your eyes. You are not looking directly at your face. You are seeing light that has bounced twice. That changes what you see. It is like looking at a copy or a version of your face, not the face itself. Think about someone else, standing across from you. They see your face directly. Light travels from your face straight to their eyes. They get the full picture, without the flipping that a mirror causes. They see the real you from the outside. You never get that view. You might wonder why this matters. What difference does it make if you see your face flipped or in a photo? The difference is in how you understand yourself. When you look in the mirror, you see something familiar. But that image is not the truth. It is a version of you. Your friends see the true version every day. That true version can look different from what you expect. For example, many people say they don't like photos of themselves. They feel the photo looks strange or wrong. That is because the photo shows them as others see them, not as they see themselves in the mirror. The photo is not flipped. It shows the real face. This can feel uncomfortable or unfamiliar. Your brain expects to see the mirror image because that is what you are used to. The real face looks off to you. This also explains why your face looks different to you in real life versus in selfies or videos. A selfie taken with a phone camera is usually flipped, so you look like your mirror image, but a photo taken by someone else shows your face the real way. This difference can surprise you. You might feel like the real you looks different from the mirror you. Your face is something you carry with you every day. It is part of your identity, but you never see it directly. You see it through reflections, photos, and videos. That means the image you have in your mind is built on these versions, not the face itself. Think of your face like a painting. When you look at a painting, you see the surface of the canvas. The artist made the image, but you only see the painted version. You don't see the real person the painting represents. Similarly, your view of your face is a kind of painted image, shaped by mirrors and cameras. If you want to imagine seeing your real face, you would have to step outside your own body and look at yourself from the front. That is impossible. You cannot float in front of yourself and look back. You cannot separate your eyes from your head to see the whole face at once. You see parts of your face all the time, but the full face is always a reflection or image. Even when you catch a glimpse of your face in a shiny surface that is not a mirror, like a window or a spoon, the view is distorted. Your face might look stretched or squashed. This shows that every way you see your face from your own eyes changes it. There is no way to see the real, undistorted, direct version. This fact can feel strange or even unsettling. You carry a face, but you never fully see it. The face you know is made up of reflections, photos, and memories. You have learned to recognize this image as yourself. It is your face, but only as others see it, or as a version flipped in a mirror. Many people spend a lot of time looking at their faces. They check for signs of age, for changes in expression, or for flaws. But what they see is not the face itself. It is a constructed image, shaped by light and reflections. In a way, your face exists mostly in other people's minds. They remember your smile, your eyes, the shape of your cheekbones. Their memories are how your face lives outside your body. You influence those images by the way you present yourself, but the true face is a shared image between you and the world. The face you see in the mirror is your face as you know it. It is a reflection, a kind of shadow of your true self. It changes as you move the mirror, the light shifts, or your expression changes. It is real in one sense, but not complete in another. No one can show you your real face from the front. No photo or mirror can do that. Only others see it. This means your real face is partly a mystery. You carry it with you, but you only know it indirectly. This idea can lead to many thoughts. Some people might feel a little lost, realizing they don't see their true face. Others might find it freeing, knowing their identity is not fixed by the image in the mirror. In every moment you look in a mirror or a photo, remember you are seeing a version of yourself. That version is your face, but not quite the whole truth. Your face is more than what you see. It is the part of you others meet. It is the face you wear in the world, even if you never see it the same way yourself. So when you look at your reflection, tonight, think about this. You are looking at a flipped image. You are not looking at your real face. And that real face is out there, waiting to be seen by others, but never fully by you. Some stars you see are dead. This idea is strange when you first hear it. You look up at the night sky, and the stars seem bright and alive. You trust that the light coming from them means they are there, burning and shining far away. But many of those stars no longer exist. They have died. The light you see is very old, and it takes a long time to travel through space to reach your eyes. Imagine a star that exploded 1,000 years ago. When it blew apart, it stopped shining. But the light it sent out before it died still travels. It moves through space at the speed of light, which is very fast, about 186,000 miles per second. Even at that speed, space is so huge that it takes a long time for light to cross it. When you look at that star in the sky, you see the light it sent out before it died, not the star itself. You see its ghost. This happens because stars are very far away. The closest star to Earth, besides the Sun, is about 4.3 light years away. That means its light takes 4.3 years to get here. If that star suddenly went out today, we would not know until over 4 years later. For stars much farther away, the time delay can be thousands, millions, or even billions of years. When you look at the stars at night, you are looking back in time. You see the stars as they were when their light first left them. Some stars might be burning bright and healthy. Others might be in the last stages of their life, ready to explode. Many stars you see have already exploded or faded into black holes or other dead forms. You just don't know it yet. Think of it like watching an old movie. The scenes show events that happened long ago, but you are watching them now. The star's light is like that movie. It tells the story of the star's past, not its present. This also means the universe is a place where what you see is not always what is. The sky looks calm and steady. The stars look fixed and bright, but many changes have happened already, far away. The universe has a long history, and we catch only glimpses of it through the light that reaches us. This idea can feel strange because it challenges how we experience the world. We expect to see things as they are, but space teaches us otherwise. It reminds us that time and distance can hide the truth. You might wonder how we know this. Scientists study light to learn about stars and space. They use tools called telescopes to look deep into the universe. These telescopes can see light that is very faint and far away. They can measure how long it took for the light to travel. By doing this, they can tell how far a star is and how old the light is. Scientists also study the way light changes as it travels. Sometimes light shifts its color or shape because of space itself moving or stretching. This helps scientists figure out what happened to the star and how far away it is. For example, when a star explodes in a supernova, it sends a huge burst of light and energy. This explosion changes the light we see. Scientists can identify supernova light even if the explosion happened millions of years ago. By studying these signs, they learn about stars that died long ago. You can imagine this like hearing an echo in a cave. The echo is a sound from the past, bouncing back to you after a delay. The light from dead stars is like an echo in space. It tells a story from the past, even if the star is no longer there. This idea helps us understand how big and old the universe is. It shows us that what we see is only part of the full story. The night sky is full of ancient light, carrying memories of stars that once shone. When you lie down and look up at the sky before falling asleep, you might think about this. Each star's light is a message from a long time ago. You are seeing the past, not the present. Some stars are alive, some are dying, and some are already gone. This can make the night feel both peaceful and a little sad. Peaceful, because the stars have traveled so far to reach you. Sad, because some of them will never shine again. But the light lives on. It carries the memory of those stars across the vastness of space. This memory in light connects you to the universe in a special way. Even though the stars are far away and some are gone, their light touches you here and now. It links your present moment to the distant past. You might imagine a star that died just as humans first learned to write. The light it sent then is still moving through space. When you see that star tonight, you see its last shining moments from thousands of years ago. That is a long journey for light to make, just to reach your eyes. The next time you see a shooting star, remember it is not a star at all. It is a small piece of dust burning up in Earth's atmosphere. The real stars shine quietly and far away. Some of those stars have already stopped shining. You just cannot tell. In this way, the night sky teaches us about time and change. It shows us how the past is always present in the light we see. The stars remind us that even when something ends, its memory can travel across time and space. You might wonder if there are stars shining right now that we will never see. There could be new stars born today, lighting up the sky. Their light will take time to reach us. In a way, the night sky is always changing, but we only see part of it at once. This also means we see some stars as they were before humans existed. We see parts of the universe that are older than our species. That knowledge can make the night feel very large and full of mystery. The stars are not just points of light. They are stories of creation, change, and endings. When you look up, you look at ancient history written in light. The light from dead stars still shines because it carries their story across the empty spaces of the universe. So when you fall asleep thinking about the stars, remember you are looking at time itself. The stars may no longer be alive, but their light remains. It reaches you as a gentle reminder of the vastness of space and the passage of time. This thought can help calm your mind. It puts your worries and your day into a larger picture. The stars keep shining even if they are gone, and so can you in your own way by leaving behind your light and your story. You'll miss your last sunset. Think about that for a moment. Every evening, the sun drops below the horizon. The sky turns shades of orange, pink, and purple. Maybe you stop what you're doing to look. Maybe you don't. But one day, there will be a sunset that you do not see. You will not know it's your last. You won't feel anything different at that moment. The world will keep turning as usual. But for you, that is the last time you will witness the sun going down. Imagine sitting outside on a warm summer evening. The air feels soft. You watch the sun slowly sink. The colors deepen. Birds sing their final songs before night falls. You don't realize this will be the last sunset you ever see. You think there will be more. You believe tomorrow's sunset will come, like always. But tomorrow never arrives for you. This is hard to grasp because you live your life expecting tomorrow. The sun will rise and it will set again. You plan your days around it. You watch the sunset without thinking twice. But time moves forward, whether you notice or not. One day, your clock stops. Your last sunset slips past without your knowing. You miss it, like a train you never boarded. You might ask yourself why this matters. After all, the sun will keep setting for others. Why should your last sunset hold any weight? It matters because each sunset you see is unique to you. The colors, the sounds, the feelings, no two sunsets are the same. Your last one is the final piece of your story in this world. Missing it means missing a chance to say goodbye to the day, to the light, to the world as you know it. Think about someone you love who has passed away. They missed their last sunset too. They didn't get to say goodbye to the sky, to the birds, to the warmth. Their last moments were not marked by the beauty of fading light. Instead, their last sunset passed silently, and they left the world without seeing it. This is what happens to all of us one day. Sunsets teach us something important. They remind us that everything has an end. The day always finishes. The light fades. Darkness arrives. This cycle repeats every 24 hours, steady and sure. Yet, our time to witness it is limited. We don't control when our final sunset will come. We can only watch as many as we are given. Imagine if you had only 5 sunsets left. what would you do differently? Would you stop and watch more? Would you feel more grateful? Would you try to share those moments with someone you care about? Most people don't think about this until it is too late. They rush through the day without stopping to notice the colors or the quiet. Missing your last sunset also means missing a chance to be present. Being present means fully noticing what is around you. It means feeling the cool breeze, hearing the distant sounds, seeing the changing sky. When you rush, you miss these things. When you are distracted, you miss these things. But when you slow down, even for a few minutes, you can find peace in the moment. Peace comes from acceptance. Accepting that one day your last sunset will come. Accepting that life is not forever. Accepting that beauty can be found even in endings. When you accept these things, you start to live differently. You stop taking moments for granted. You start to notice the simple things, like the sky at dusk. There is also a quiet lesson in sunsets. They do not fight the dark. They do not try to hold on to the light. The sun simply sets. It disappears below the horizon, making way for night. The stars begin to shine. The moon appears. The world changes, but it changes gently. The end of the day is not loud or angry. It is calm and natural. You can learn from this. When your time comes, you do not have to struggle or resist. You can let go like the sun. You can leave quietly, without noise or fear. You can trust that the darkness that follows is part of the cycle. Just as night gives way to day, endings give way to new beginnings, even if you don't see them. Every sunset is also a reminder of time's passage. The sun does not stop for anyone. It moves on, no matter what. Your days are the same. They pass one after another, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but they always move forward. No matter how much you want to pause or rewind, you cannot. This can be scary to think about. The idea that time slips away and you cannot stop it, but it can also be freeing. Knowing that time moves on can help you let go of regrets. You cannot change the past. You cannot hold on to what is gone. You can only live today, right now, and appreciate the moments you still have. When you watch a sunset, you connect with something bigger than yourself. You connect with nature's rhythm. You connect with every person who has ever looked up at the sky. You join a long line of watchers who found comfort in the colors of dusk. This connection is powerful. It reminds you that you are part of a larger story. This story is not about how long you live. It is about the moments you choose to notice. It is about the sunsets you watch and the memories you make. It is about the time you spend with others and the kindness you show. It is about living fully, even when you know the end will come. Missing your last sunset means missing a chance to be part of this story one final time. It means missing a chance to feel the world around you before everything changes. It means missing a moment of beauty that belongs only to you. This is why it matters to stop and watch, to breathe deeply, to be present. Some people chase sunsets. They travel to faraway places to see the sky burst into color. They take pictures. They share stories. They know that sunsets are fleeting. They know that beauty is temporary. They understand that every sunset is a gift. You do not have to travel far to see this. Your last sunset may come at home, in your backyard, or even through a window. Sunsets teach patience too. The colors do not appear all at once. They grow slowly, change subtly, and then fade. If you look too quickly, you will miss the full show. Life works like this. Good things take time. Moments unfold gradually. You need to slow down and pay attention to see them fully. You might think about the sunsets you have missed, the times you were too busy or tired to look up, the days when clouds covered the sky, the moments when you didn't care. These are lost sunsets, gone forever. You cannot get them back. but you still have more ahead. Each sunset you watch adds something to your life. It becomes a quiet memory you carry inside. It shapes your feelings, your thoughts, your soul. These memories are small treasures. They remind you that even when life ends, it was once full of color and light. Finally, when your last sunset passes, the world will still spin. The stars will still shine. The earth will continue its path through space. But for you, the night will be endless. No more sunsets will come. No more days will begin. This is part of life's cycle. It is the way things end, so new things can begin elsewhere. This knowledge can change how you live today. It can help you find meaning in small moments. It can help you appreciate the sky, the air, the sounds, and the light. It can help you be gentle with yourself and with others. It can help you see that every sunset is a chance to be alive, a chance to feel, a chance to say goodbye. So when you find yourself outside as the sun dips low, pause, take a breath, watch the colors change. Remember that this moment is one you will never get back. Know that it is precious because it is temporary. And even if you miss your last sunset one day, you will have the memory of all the ones you did. See, that memory will stay with you, quietly, like the fading light. Forgotten days felt important once. Think about a day from your past. Maybe a day when you woke up, had breakfast, and went about your usual tasks. At the time, that day seemed normal, maybe even important. You might have had plans, thoughts, or feelings that made it stand out, but now, years later, that day feels like a blur. You can't remember the details clearly. Sometimes, you might not remember it at all. It's as if the day disappeared from your mind. This happens to everyone. Our minds are always choosing what to keep and what to let go. Some memories stick because they involve strong emotions or major events. Other memories fade because they are routine or less exciting. Over time, even some important days lose their sharpness. The feelings you had, the people you saw, and the things you did become fuzzy. The day that once mattered seems like a faded photograph. You might remember the shape, but not the colors. For example, imagine a birthday you celebrated 5 years ago. You probably remember the cake, the presents, or the friends who came. But can you recall the exact conversations? The way the room smelled, or the weather outside? Most likely, those small details have slipped away. The day was important then, filled with joy or excitement. Now, the memory feels distant, less real. This fading of memories can feel strange. It shows how fragile our sense of time and experience is. A day that shaped who you are can become just a whisper in your mind. You might even wonder if it really happened the way you remember, or if your brain changed the story over time. Memories aren't like videos or photographs saved on a phone. They are more like stories you tell yourself. Each time you recall a memory, your mind rewrites it a little. The story shifts, the details change, and what once felt solid becomes uncertain. This is not just about personal memories. History works the same way. The events people once thought were important might be forgotten or seen differently by later generations. What was urgent or painful to people then may seem unimportant or even strange now. Sometimes, places and events that shaped entire societies vanish from common memory. Think of ancient cities covered by dust or old customs no longer practiced. The same process happens in our own lives, but on a smaller scale. You might ask why. Some days stay vivid in your mind, while others disappear. It often depends on how much attention you gave them, how much they affected your feelings, or how often you revisit them. A moment of joy, pain, or surprise tends to stay longer because it leaves a strong mark. Routine days when nothing unusual happened tend to fade because they blend with many others like them. Your brain prioritizes memories that helped you learn or survive. It lets go of those it thinks are less useful. Imagine 2 days. One where you lost something important and another where you walked to work without thinking much. The first day might stay with you because it caused strong feelings, frustration, sadness, or worry. You might replay it in your mind often, trying to understand or fix it. The second day, while it was part of your life, probably feels empty. Now, you don't remember it well because it didn't stand out. This fading memory doesn't mean those days were worthless. They built the foundation for who you are today. Even if you can't recall every detail, those experiences shaped your habits, your views, and your emotions. You changed bit by bit every day, and the sum of forgotten moments helped form the person you've become. Sometimes people try to hold on to memories by writing diaries, taking photos, or telling stories. These efforts help keep the past alive longer, but even then, memories will shift and change. People sometimes worry about forgetting important parts of their lives. This can feel scary, like losing pieces of themselves. But forgetting also helps us move forward. If we remembered every detail perfectly, our minds might be overwhelmed. Forgetting makes room for new experiences and learning. It's a natural process that balances memory and growth. You can see this in your daily life. Have you ever noticed how some old friends or moments seem less vivid as years pass? You might feel a tug of nostalgia, but struggle to grasp the specifics. This is normal. It means your mind is organizing your life like a library. Some books stay on the shelf and are read often. Others get packed away and visited less. The forgotten. Days are like books stored in the back, not lost, but harder to reach. Sometimes, a smell, a song, or a place will bring back a forgotten memory suddenly. You might recall a small detail from a day you thought was lost. These moments show how memories lie beneath the surface waiting for a trigger. When this happens, the day might feel fresh again, even if just for a moment. But soon after, the memory might fade once more. This experience can remind you that your mind is complex and mysterious. It doesn't keep a perfect record, but a patchwork of feelings, images, and stories. Your memories shape your identity, but they are also fluid. They change as you change. That is part of what it means to be human. So when you think about forgotten days, remember they once mattered. Even if you can't recall every moment, those days contributed to your life. They are part of the invisible thread weaving through your past, present, and future. You might not hold the details, but you carry their effects in who you are today. Most people are temporary. That sounds harsh at first, but if you think about your life so far, you'll realize it's true. People come and go, friends move away, neighbors change, co-workers leave. Sometimes the split is clean. Other times, it just fades out. No fight, no goodbye, just silence. You wake up one day and realize you haven't thought of them in years. That's how people disappear. Not in some grand, dramatic way, but slowly, like footprints fading from sand. When you were a child, you probably had someone you called your best friend. You might have spent every afternoon with them. You might have eaten at each other's houses, stayed up late telling secrets, and shared things you didn't tell anyone else. Where are they now? Maybe you follow them online, maybe you don't. But that bond, the one that felt like it would last forever, didn't. Something broke it, or it just didn't survive the distance. Life shifted, you moved forward. So, did they? Now you're both living separate lives, like you were never a part of each other's story. But you were. You still are. You always will be. That's the strange part. This isn't just about childhood. Think of high school. Think of how many faces you saw every single day. You knew their voices. You might have known their handwriting, their laughs, the way they walked down a hallway. Some of them were kind to you. Some weren't. Some made you feel seen. Some made you feel invisible. And yet, you shared years in the same space. Now you could walk past most of them on the street and not even know it. You wouldn't recognize them, and they wouldn't recognize you. People are temporary, but not forgettable. Even the ones you haven't seen in a decade left fingerprints somewhere in your mind. A teacher who once believed in you. A stranger who helped you when you were scared. A coworker who made you laugh when you wanted to cry. Most of them didn't stay, but they mattered. Sometimes you lose people quickly. A fight, a breakup, a death. These are the sharp exits. They leave a sting. They leave a gap you notice every day for a while. But even then, time stretches out. That pain fades. You stop checking your phone for their name. You stop replaying the last conversation. You forget the sound of their voice. You forget what made them funny. One day, you realize you haven't thought of them in weeks, then months, then not at all. That's how time works. It wipes things away slowly until all that's left is a vague shape, a blur, a name that doesn't feel real anymore. Sometimes people stay longer than they should. You keep them in your life out of habit, not love. You try to revive something that's already gone, but deep down, you know it won't last. It's like holding on to smoke. They stop understanding you, or you stop understanding them. You don't laugh the same way anymore. Conversations dry up. Calls become texts. Texts become silence. Then one day, you don't invite them, or they don't show up. And that's it. That's how most things end, not with a bang, just with a pause that never gets unpaused. It happens in work too. People who once felt like family drift out of your life as soon as someone changes jobs. You spend years solving problems together, sharing coffee breaks, venting about clients. Then they leave, and within a few weeks, you stop checking in. Their contact info is still in your phone, but you never use it. You see their name when you scroll, and it doesn't even spark anything. You forget what it was like to talk every day. All those years, and now it's nothing. Romantic relationships do it too. Someone who once knew every inch of your life becomes a stranger. You knew their sleep habits, their favorite snacks. You could tell when they were lying just by the way they blinked. You swore you'd always be there. But now you couldn't tell anyone what city they live in. You forgot their new partner's name. You stopped wondering what they're up to. They became part of your past, like a closed book on a high shelf. It's still there, but you don't open it. Even families change. You grow up with cousins you saw every summer. Then the visits stop. Everyone gets older. Life pulls people in different directions. Weddings, jobs, babies, health problems. Everything pulls the circle apart. And soon you don't recognize the family photo on your grandma's fridge. You still share blood, but not your days, not your jokes, not your pain, just genetics and old stories. Sometimes people leave because they have to. They move, they get sick, they die. You can't stop it. You don't get a say. All you can do is feel it when it happens, then keep living anyway. You look around and realize the room feels colder without them, smaller. You forget who you were when they were around. That part of you dies a little too, and you carry on. But not all losses are sad. Sometimes you outgrow people. You grow in ways they don't. You change, and they don't follow. You stop fitting into the same space. That doesn't mean they were bad for you. They were right for the version of you that needed them. Now you've moved past that. And that's okay. The truth is, most people aren't meant to stay. They show up for a reason, a season, or a lesson. Some people are just a one-scene character in your story. You meet them once on a train. You talk for hours. You never see them again. But that night sticks with you. Something they said changed the way you see things. They don't know that. They never will. But you remember. Some people leave you with music, a song they played for you, a band you discovered together. Now it plays, and your chest aches in ways you can't explain. You smile, but your eyes sting. It's not because you miss them. It's because you remember how much it mattered. Most people are temporary, but not meaningless. Even if they vanish from your life, they shape the way you love, laugh, trust, fear. You pick up pieces from each of them. You carry those pieces forward, like a mosaic made of old moments. And when you meet someone new, you hand them those pieces. You build something with them too. Maybe it lasts, maybe it doesn't. But that's how life works. We orbit each other. We collide. We drift. Some people stay close. Some fade out. Some crash and burn. Some just pass by in silence. And all of it, every meeting, every goodbye, every moment you didn't know would be the last, adds up to the person you are right now, alone in the dark, listening to words, thinking of someone you used to know and wondering who will be next. You're made of dead stars. That sounds like a line from a poem or a sci-fi movie, but it's not fiction, it's science. The elements that build your body, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, calcium, iron, weren't made on Earth. They didn't start here. They came from somewhere else. They came from stars. In the beginning, the universe only had hydrogen, helium, and a tiny trace of lithium. These were the first elements, formed right after the Big Bang, over 13 billion years ago. They were light, simple, and for a long time, they were all there was. But hydrogen and helium alone can't make a planet like Earth. They can't make people. They can't make water, or rocks, or trees. You need heavier elements for that. You need carbon for skin, oxygen for breath, calcium for bones, iron for blood. Those didn't show up until stars were born, lived, and died. A star begins as a cloud of gas and dust. Gravity pulls it inward until the pressure and heat get so high that atoms fuse together. This is called nuclear fusion. In small stars like our Sun, hydrogen atoms crash into each other and fuse into helium. This releases energy, which is why stars shine. But in bigger stars, much bigger than the Sun, the process keeps going. After they burn through hydrogen, they fuse helium into carbon, carbon into oxygen, then neon, magnesium, silicon, and finally iron. Iron is where the process stops. Fusion can't go past iron because it takes more energy than it gives back. When a star reaches this stage, it's in trouble. The fusion stops, the pressure drops, and gravity wins. The star collapses in on itself in a fraction of a second. Then it explodes. That explosion is called a supernova. A supernova is violent and brief. In a single blast, it can outshine an entire galaxy. And in that moment, it makes almost every other element on the periodic table. Gold, silver, uranium, lead. These come from the chaos of a dying star. So does the iron in your blood. So does the calcium in your teeth. So does the carbon in your DNA. Every heavy atom in your body was once part of a star that blew itself to pieces. The explosion spreads the star's guts into space. Those atoms drift for millions, even billions of years. They mix with gas and dust, they gather into new clouds, and eventually they form new stars. Sometimes they also form planets. That's what happened here. Our Sun is a second or third generation star. That means it was born from the remains of other stars. Our planet formed from those remains too. So did we. If you pick up a handful of dirt, it's star stuff. If you drink a glass of water, it contains hydrogen atoms that have existed since the dawn of time, and oxygen atoms that came from a long-dead star. When you breathe, you pull in air shaped by the life cycles of stars. When you eat, your body uses star-made chemicals to build new cells. You are walking, thinking, feeling proof that the death of stars gave rise to something else. Think about this. Right now, your heart is beating because of iron. You need iron to carry oxygen in your blood. Without it, your cells would suffocate. That iron didn't come from a mine. It didn't start in the Earth's core. It started in a supernova, somewhere in the galaxy, maybe 8 billion years ago. That star died so that billions of years later, you could live. Even the calcium in your bones tells a story. It formed during the last stages of a massive star's life. For a brief window, maybe just a few thousand years, the star fused helium into carbon and carbon into oxygen, until finally calcium appeared. Then the star died, and its death scattered the calcium that now makes up your teeth, your ribs, your skull. You can't see that past when you look in a mirror. You just see skin, maybe freckles, maybe wrinkles. But inside, there are atoms that are older than the planet you stand on. The carbon in your body is at least 5 billion years old. The atoms in your hands were here before Earth had oceans. They've traveled through the galaxy. They've been part of stars, maybe planets, maybe even other living things, long before you were born. We don't usually think about ourselves this way. We think about jobs, errands, meals. We think about traffic, bills, texts, chores. But all the while, we carry the history of the universe inside us. It's in your bones. It's in your blood. The universe didn't just make you. It made you out of itself. Even your brain, the part of you that's listening right now, is made of this same matter. The thoughts you think, the feelings you feel, all of it runs on electricity passed through star-born molecules, your neurons. Fire with sodium and potassium ions, elements shaped in stellar cores. Every word you whisper, every dream you forget, every moment of joy or fear or love is carried out by ancient atoms with violent, beautiful pasts. Sometimes it's easy to feel small. You walk into a crowd and no one knows your name. You stare at the night sky and the stars feel too far away to matter. You wonder if anything you do makes a difference. But the truth is, you're already part of something huge. You always were. You don't need to travel to space to touch the stars. You are already made of them. Your hands, your heart, your thoughts. They're the echo of things that lived and died before Earth was even a dream. So when you lie in bed tonight and close your eyes, know this: you carry the ashes of stars. You are the dust of explosions. You are the product of collapse and fire, of time and chance and energy. You don't just live in the universe lives in you. You've had last meetings unknowingly. At first, that idea sounds simple, but if you sit with it, it gets heavier. Think about the people in your life, the ones you've worked with, lived near, talked to in class, or laughed with on a long walk. Some of them, maybe a friend from school, maybe a cousin you saw every few holidays, maybe even someone you saw every day for years. You've already seen them for the last time. You didn't know it was the last time. You didn't get to say goodbye. You just moved forward. You went to bed that night thinking you might see them again someday, and then you didn't. Life doesn't warn you about the last times. You might expect it when someone is old or sick, but even then, the last moment often slips by quietly. There's no big scene, no final words. It could happen in a coffee shop, or in a hallway, or during a phone call where one of you says, "Talk to you later," and then later never comes. Think about someone you haven't seen in years. Try to picture their face. Where were you the last time you spoke? What were you wearing? What did they say? Did you say anything that mattered? Did you even know what you were saying goodbye to? Most people don't. Most people just go on, caught in the belief that there's more time. Maybe it was an old friend. You both promised to stay in touch. Maybe you meant it. Maybe you didn't. But time passed. Jobs got in the way. New people came in. The phone didn't ring. The texts stopped. One day, the distance became permanent, and no one even noticed. You remember them now in quiet moments. Maybe you think, I should reach out, but you don't. Maybe you can't. It happens with coworkers too. The person you ate lunch with every Tuesday, the one who always knew when you were having a bad day. They got a new job. You moved departments. You said, we'll get together soon. But soon didn't come. That last lunch, whatever you talked about, whatever sandwich you ate, that was it. It happens with family. A cousin you only saw on holidays. A grandparent you visited once in a while. Even parents, siblings, kids. We don't always know which visit will be the final one. Sometimes it's after a fight. Sometimes it's after a small, normal day. Sometimes it's in the middle of a joke, or during a long goodbye where nobody realizes what's being left behind. A man once spent every Friday afternoon talking with his neighbor. They'd meet by the fence, drink lemonade, talk about old baseball games. One Friday, the neighbor didn't come out. He thought maybe she had visitors. The next Friday, he noticed the house was quiet. A week later, a for sale sign appeared in the yard. He never saw her again. That last conversation, something about the weather and her garden, that was it. It didn't feel important at the time, but now it sticks with him. That's how most last meetings are. Quiet, ordinary. You never know which day will matter. Sometimes the last meeting is a choice. You argue with someone. The relationship ends. You walk away. Maybe you're angry. Maybe you think they'll reach out. Maybe you think you'll fix it later. But then life happens. Days pass, then months. The door stays closed. You replay that last moment in your head again and again. The words, the look, the silence. You didn't know that was the last chapter, but now it's sealed shut. Other times, the last meeting is out of your hands. Someone moves away. A number gets changed. A car crash, a heart attack, a diagnosis. And just like that, they're gone. You might not even find out until years later. Maybe someone says, "Did you hear about her?" And then the room gets quiet. You try to remember the last time you saw her smile, what she said, how you said goodbye, or if you did at all. This isn't about regret. It's about awareness, because last meetings are part of life. We all experience them, not just with people, but with places too. The last time you walked down your high school hallway, the last time you stood in your childhood bedroom, the last time you sat at a bus stop that used to be part of your daily life. You didn't stop to take it in. You just went. You thought you'd be back. But sometimes you're not. Time has a strange way of making things permanent without warning. A person walks out of a room and they never return. Not because of something dramatic, not because of some great event. Sometimes it's just because life keeps moving and people drift. Routines change, addresses change, priorities shift, and that's the end. You've already lived through dozens of last meetings without knowing. The friend you played with every day when you were 6, the college roommate you laughed with at 2 a.m., the person in your office who shared snacks and secrets. You smiled, said, "See you later," and walked off. But there was no later. It's strange how fragile connection is, how quickly something normal becomes a memory that gets softer around the edges, a moment that fades, but somewhere in your brain, it stays. A laugh, a look, the sound of someone's voice. You might hear it in a dream, or in a song, or when you walk past someone who smells like them, and suddenly you're back in that moment, without realizing it was the last time you ever would be. It doesn't always feel sad. Sometimes it feels warm, like a memory wrapped in soft cloth. But other times, it hits hard, like something missing from your chest, something you forgot to say, something you didn't know you needed to hold on to. If you had known it was the last time, would you have done anything differently? Would you have stayed a little longer, said something softer, hugged a little tighter? Maybe, but we rarely get that chance. That's the strange part about being human. We live in moments we don't recognize as final. We live through endings that feel like middles. We carry pieces of people who don't even know they left them with us. And we leave pieces of ourselves behind too, on porches, in airports, in doorways, in small talk, and shared rides and broken plans. You've had last meetings unknowingly, and you'll have more. That's not a threat. That's just how life works. People pass through. Paths cross, then split. Some doors close softly, others slam shut. And most of the time, you'll keep walking, not knowing which step was the last shared one. That's what makes it all so delicate. Not just the beginnings, but the endings we never see coming. You dream every night, but you almost never remember. That's not because the dreams don't happen. They do. Your brain lights up. It creates places, people, sounds, emotions. Some dreams feel so real that your body reacts like you're awake. Your heart speeds up. Your muscles twitch. Your eyes dart under your lids like you're watching something. In a way, you are. But when you wake up, most of that dream is already gone. Dreams vanish too fast. You wake up with a strange feeling, like something happened. You might remember one image, a hallway, a voice, someone's face. Then it slips. It fades like breath on glass. The more you try to hold it, the faster it disappears. Within a minute, half the dream is gone. In 5 minutes, there's almost nothing left. That whole world your brain built in your sleep, gone, without a trace. Most people forget 90 to 99% of their dreams. That's normal. The brain isn't built to keep dreams around. Your brain treats dreams like background noise. When you sleep, your short-term memory system doesn't work the way it does when you're awake. The hippocampus, which helps store new memories, doesn't stay as active during dreaming. That's why even vivid dreams vanish as soon as your eyes open. You can try to catch them. Some people write their dreams down as soon as they wake up. Even then, they lose most of the detail. They remember outlines. They forget colors, sounds, faces. One moment you're standing on a beach with blue sand, and the next, you only remember that it was a beach. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a hallway or a cave. The details shift when you try to name them. The dream resists being remembered. It helps to wake up slowly. If you wake up fast, an alarm blaring, a phone ringing, you lose the dream in the shock. If you wake up naturally, there's a better chance you'll hold on to it. But even then, time works against you. Most dreams last only a few minutes. A long dream might stretch to 20 minutes. Some feel like they go on for hours, but that's part of the trick. The brain doesn't follow clock time when it dreams. It follows feelings, impressions, loose logic. It skips around. You might walk through a door and find yourself in a different country. That doesn't seem strange while it's happening. The dream just moves. You've had dreams where you fall, or fly, or speak to people who aren't alive anymore. You've walked through cities that don't exist. You've had whole conversations you can't quote. Sometimes the dreams feel more important than your waking life. They feel like messages, or memories, or warnings. And then they're gone. You sit up in bed, knowing something mattered, but you can't hold on to it. You try to backtrack through the images, a river, a voice, a door, but they fall apart in your hands. Dreams don't store themselves the way waking experiences do. When you go to the store or have a conversation with a friend, your brain uses a system of encoding and retrieval. It takes the input, tags it with details, and files it. During dreams, that tagging system isn't fully working. There's less activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that helps with logic, structure, and memory. So the dream floats free. You experience it, but you don't anchor it. There are exceptions. Nightmares stick more often. That's because fear triggers a stronger physical reaction. Your amygdala, which processes emotion, especially fear, becomes more active. You might wake up sweating, breathing hard, heart racing. The intensity helps lock part of the experience into memory. But even then, it fades. You might remember the feeling, but not the scene. You know you were scared, but you can't say why. Sometimes something strange happens. A sound from the outside world enters the dream. The buzz of your alarm becomes a fire truck in your dream. The feeling of needing to pee turns into searching for a bathroom in a strange building. The outside world bleeds into the dream world without your awareness. Then you wake up, and both realities shatter. You may have had a dream where you realized you were dreaming. That's called lucid dreaming. It's rare, but it happens. In that moment, you become aware. You might try to fly or change the dream. Some people train themselves to do this more often. They keep dream journals, practice awareness exercises, and wake themselves in the middle of the night to write things down. But even lucid dreams don't always last. You wake up, the dream fades, and no matter how sharp it felt, it still slips away. Children remember dreams more often than adults. That's partly because they sleep more deeply and dream more often. As we age, sleep becomes lighter. We wake up more often through the night. Our dream cycles change. Even when we remember a dream, it's hard to keep it in mind through the noise of the day. We get up, check a phone, get dressed, go to work. By then, the dream has dissolved into nothing. There's something haunting about that. Every night, your brain creates a whole life behind your eyelids, and every morning, it takes it away. You live dozens of dream lives every month. Most of them you'll never recall. Some are happy, some are strange, some are sad, some are terrifying. You might cry in a dream, you might fall in love, you might die. But by morning it's all gone, like mist in the sun. People have tried to find meaning in dreams for thousands of years. Some think dreams carry messages. Some say they reveal the subconscious. Freud said, dreams were the disguised wishes of the mind. Jung believed they were symbols from the deeper self. Neuroscientists tend to be more practical. They say dreams are the brain's way of organizing information, dealing with stress, or just firing randomly during sleep. No one fully agrees. But they all agree on one thing: dreams vanish too fast. You could live an entire lifetime in a dream. You could be someone else. You could grow old, then young, then disappear. But when the alarm goes off, it's gone. The bedroom walls come back. The blanket's too warm. There's light through the window. And all that world, the people, the buildings, the voice that told you something important, it's not there anymore. You can chase it, but it moves faster than you do. It's strange to think that every night you might meet someone who doesn't exist. You might fight a battle or hold someone you miss, and then forget them forever. That dream version of you, who knew how to fly or speak another language or breathe underwater, that version dies at sunrise. You are the only witness. And even you forget. That's what makes dreams so strange. You live them like they're real, but they leave no mark, no proof, no trail. You could dream of a perfect day and lose it before your feet touch the floor. You could be running from something in the dark, heart pounding, but you'll never know what it was. All you'll remember is that you were scared, or that you loved someone, or that you had wings, and that's why dreams feel like ghosts. You can't touch them, you can't trust them, but they still visit you, night after night, quiet, complete, and gone. You'll never see most of Earth. That sounds dramatic at first, but it's true. Not in a poetic way, not in some deep philosophical sense. In the simplest, clearest way, the Earth is enormous, and your time here is short. You'll never see most of it, no matter how much you travel, no matter how rich or curious or restless you are. Even if you spent every day of your life going somewhere new, you'd still miss more than you could ever take in. Let's say you live to be 85 years old. Let's say you start traveling when you're 20. That gives you 65 years of life to go places. If you visit one new town or city every single week, never taking a break, never revisiting the same spot, you'll have seen just over 3,000 places by the time you die. That sounds like a lot, but Earth has over 44,000 cities and towns, not to mention the endless number of villages, islands, mountains, rivers, and corners no one even lives in. You'll miss almost all of them. Most of the world will stay hidden from you, and that's if you're lucky. That's if you're healthy, wealthy, mobile, and free to go where you want. Most people don't have that. Most people stay close to where they were born. The average person lives less than 100 miles from their birthplace. They might travel for work or take a few vacations, but they come home. They grow up looking at the same trees, same streets, same skyline. Their world stays small, even while the actual planet is massive. Think about the parts of Earth you'll never see. You'll never walk across the salt flats in Bolivia. You'll never stand in the empty silence of Antarctica. You'll never watch the sunrise over a village in Nepal. You'll never see the northern lights from deep inside the Arctic Circle. You'll never sail through the fjords of Norway. You'll never set foot on most of the islands in the Pacific, the ones with no airports, no hotels, no postcard views. You won't hike the remote mountains of Kazakhstan. You won't eat in tiny cafes on streets where no one speaks your language. You won't see the forests in Siberia or the ruins that sit quietly in the deserts of Iran. You won't swim in lakes you've never heard of. You won't see the storms that roll over the plains in Botswana or hear the sand blow across the dunes in Namibia. Even the places you think you know, you don't. You've seen pictures of Paris, but you haven't. Stood in the rain near a bakery while the streetlight hums above you. You've heard of Tokyo, but you haven't sat on a quiet bench in a residential alley while the cicadas drone in the heat. You haven't walked into a random building in Istanbul just to see what's inside. You haven't looked at a city from the window of a local bus with no idea where it's going. These are things you don't experience unless you're there, and you can't be everywhere. The Earth isn't just big in terms of land, it's big in terms of time. Every place has seasons, rhythms, moods. A beach in summer doesn't feel the same in winter. A street in the afternoon looks nothing like it does at night. You could visit the same spot 100 times, and it would never be exactly the same. Rain changes the air. Wind changes the sound. People pass through. Shops open and close. Everything shifts a little, constantly. So even the places you do visit, you only ever see in one small version of themselves. You never see the full picture. And this is just the surface. Go below and you'll miss even more. You won't go deep into cave systems where it's pitch, black and damp, and older than anything you've ever known. You won't dive to the seafloor and see the glowing things that live where light never reaches. You won't walk through abandoned mines. You won't hear the earth hum from inside its crust. And above? You won't float high above the clouds in the stratosphere. You won't look down on thunderstorms from above unless you become a pilot or astronaut, and even then, only sometimes. Earth has layers of experience that go far beyond what we walk on. Most of them stay hidden. Now think about the people. 7, maybe 8 billion humans live here, each with their own streets, customs, routines. People waking up in homes you've never seen, hearing birds you've never heard, eating food you've never tasted. Markets full of smells you can't name. Words you don't understand, spoken with emotion you do understand. In the background, there's always something you've never heard of. A local sport, a children's game, a way of greeting, a sound from the radio. You'll never walk their routes, never watch their sunsets, never hear their stories unless someone brings them to you. And even then, you get only a glimpse, a single frame from a full film you'll never watch. Most of Earth's sounds will never reach you. Think about that. Forests crackle with bugs and wind. Oceans roar. Winds whistle between canyon walls. Birds chirp in combinations you'll never hear. Ice cracks with deep booms in the polar regions. Lava hisses from volcanoes. All of these sounds happen while you sleep, while you eat, while you go to work. They keep going whether you're aware or not. Same with smells. Wet soil after rain in Myanmar doesn't smell the same as it does in Brazil. Firewood in Mongolia smells different than firewood in Greece. Some flowers only bloom at night, in places you'll never be. Some spices never leave the village they came from. You'll never smell them. You'll never know they exist. The sky looks different from different places too. Light pollution hides the stars in most cities. Go to the middle of the ocean or the high desert and the stars are so thick you don't know where space begins. But you'll likely never see that. You might think you've seen the night sky, but not like that. You'll see the moon 1,000 times, but never from the same place twice. Even that familiar face in the sky has infinite versions depending on where you stand. People often say Earth is small, but they say it because they're used to looking at maps. They're used to satellite images, photos from space, glowing dots on a screen. None of that is real scale. Stand at the edge of a desert, climb a hill and look out across a valley. Fly for 15 hours and land in a place where the sky feels wrong and the air smells unfamiliar. Then tell yourself, Earth is small. It's not. It only seems that way when you forget how slow feet move, how narrow eyes see, how little time you have. You'll never see most of Earth, and that's okay, but it's still true. The place you grew up, the one that felt like the whole world for a while, won't last forever. One day, it will be gone. Not just changed, not just painted over or remodeled. Gone. The floor you sat on to open presents. The stairs you ran down to see if Santa came. The walls that heard your voice when you cried. They will all vanish. It might start slow. Maybe the front porch wood warps from the weather. Maybe the garden turns wild when no one waters it anymore. The grass gets long. The mailbox leans sideways. People drive by and don't even glance. Maybe your parents move. Maybe they pass away. Maybe the new owners tear it down to build something newer, cleaner, or bigger. Maybe it burns down. Maybe it gets sold and turned into a business. Maybe no one wants it at all, and it rots until the city sends a demolition crew. You won't get to vote on it. Even if the building stands, it won't feel the same. You could walk through it and not recognize it. Paint over the hallway where you measured your height. Replace the carpet where you spilled grape juice. Knock down the wall that used to hold the calendar with birthdays circled. Someone else might be brushing their teeth in your old sink. Someone else might be asleep in your bed, and you'll feel like a ghost in your own story. You might return someday and park across the street just to look. You'll expect to feel something. Maybe warmth, maybe sorrow, but it'll feel distant. You'll stare at the door, and it won't open for you. The light in the window won't mean what it used to. A kid might run across the yard, and they won't know your name. They'll never know what it meant to you. They don't need to. Sometimes, the whole street changes. Your old neighbors move or die. The corner store shuts down. The trees grow tall and wide, or someone cuts them down. The road gets paved again, and the cracks you memorized disappear. The air smells different. Even the sky can feel like it changed. You start to wonder if your memories are real, or something your brain made prettier over time. And the objects inside, the things that made the house feel like home, they disappear one by one. Some get tossed out during cleaning sprees. Some break. Some end up in boxes marked donate or garage sale. You tell yourself the memories are enough, that things are just things. But when you reach for the blanket that used to sit on the couch and it's not there anymore, it stings a little. You'll look for your reflection in the old bathroom mirror and remember it's been replaced. You'll try to find the door with the loose hinge, only to learn someone fixed it years ago. If your home gets sold, it'll be listed by square footage and bathroom count. Real estate photos won't show the corner where you built forts out of couch cushions. They won't show the crack in the wall shaped like a lightning bolt or the smell of pancakes on Sunday mornings. To the next buyer, it's just a building. To you, it was everything. You might even try to tell someone about it, a partner, a child, a friend, but words won't land right. This is where I had my first kiss. This is where I broke my arm. This is where we waited for Dad to come home from the hospital. And they'll nod and smile, and maybe they'll care for a minute, but not the way you do, because you can't pass your memories to someone else. Not really. Sometimes it doesn't even take decades. Sometimes it happens fast. Maybe your family lost the house during hard times. Maybe a disaster hit, flood, fire, storm. You didn't get to say goodbye. No time to pack a box of keepsakes. No slow fade. Just gone. You wake up the next day, and the place you thought would always be there is rubble or ash or an empty lot. Even if you do get to say goodbye, it doesn't feel like enough. You walk from room to room, touching walls like their skin. You close your eyes and try to fix the image in your mind. You think you'll remember it forever, but memories fade. Years later, you'll struggle to picture the wallpaper in the kitchen. You'll argue with your sibling about whether the sofa was blue or green. You'll forget which cabinet the cereal was in. If your childhood was hard, you might think losing the house won't hurt. You might feel like you want it erased. But even then, when it's gone, something strange happens. You still feel the absence, because even if it wasn't a good place, it was your place. Your version of safety, even if it wasn't safe. Your window to the world, even if the view wasn't kind, it still shaped you. When it disappears, so does a piece of the map you built your identity on. It gets worse when you realize it's not just your house. It's everyone's. Every person you know will lose theirs too. Their homes will vanish, crumble, sell, flood, burn, rot, one after another, street after street. It won't matter how much joy or grief lived inside. The world keeps turning, the clock keeps ticking, foundations crack, time doesn't care. There's no ceremony for the last time you sleep in your childhood bed. No warning. You just leave one day and you never come back to sleep there again. You don't know it at the time. You think you'll return. You think there's time. Then a year passes, then 2, then 10, and then the bed's gone. The room's changed, or the whole house is. Even photos don't help the way you think they will. A picture shows the couch, the lamp, the chipped mug, but it can't bring back the smell, the warmth, the sound of your parents' footsteps in the hall. It can't replay the exact way the light hit the wall at sunset. Photos are placeholders, not time machines. The home itself never knew what it meant to you. Walls don't care, roofs don't remember. But you do. You carry it in your chest, in the rhythm of your thoughts, in the way you dream at night. You walk into unfamiliar rooms, and something inside you compares them to a place that doesn't exist anymore. Even your body holds on. Your hands remember where the light switches were. Your feet expect the creak of a certain step. Your nose searches for that scent that meant safety. But your body is wrong now. The signals don't land. The place it's trying to find is gone, and it's not coming back. Your childhood home will vanish. Not just physically, emotionally, spiritually. It will shrink in your memory until it's more feeling than structure. It will exist in flashes, in a smell you catch by accident, in a floor tile that looks familiar, in the sudden drop of your stomach when you think about going back and realize you can't. It's already happening. Every second you're not there, time is doing its quiet work. It doesn't knock or announce itself. It just slips in. One drawer gets emptied. One photo gets taken down. One rug gets replaced. And just like that, the home becomes a house, then a property, then someone else's, then no one's, and still, somehow, it'll always be yours, even when it's gone. You used to worry about things that don't matter anymore. You don't think about them now. You might not even remember what they were. That's how worry works. It feels big in the moment. It feels like it will never end. But then time moves forward. Your life changes. You get new problems. The old ones shrink. Some vanish. Some just stop hurting. You adjust without realizing it. And one day, that fear you once carried is just gone. Think about a time in school. Maybe you forgot your homework. Maybe you had to give a speech. Maybe someone laughed at you. You lost sleep over it. Your heart pounded. You replayed it in your head again and again. But now, you'd have to dig deep to even remember the details, the teacher's name, what the speech was about, whether anyone else even noticed. That moment felt huge, but it passed. It became nothing. The same thing happens again and again at every age. You worry about the job interview, the date, the test results, the rent, the fight you had, the words you said or didn't say. You play out worst-case scenarios. You picture everything going wrong, and sometimes things do go wrong, but you're still here. You got through it. Or if you're still in it, you'll get past it soon. Most worries fade, not because they weren't real, but because they stop mattering. You survive long enough for them to lose power. It doesn't mean the feeling was fake. When you worry, it hurts. It feels physical. You can't focus. Your chest tightens. You lose your appetite. You wake up too early. You can't stop pacing. You look for signs that things will go wrong. You prepare for pain. You brace for loss. But even that raw panic fades. You don't stay in it forever. No one does. Even in grief, even in fear, the body wants rest. It forces you to adapt. It gives you a break, whether you notice or not. Some of the things that used to terrify you now make you laugh. You remember how serious you felt. You remember the spiral, but you also see the distance. You're not that person anymore. You've moved on. That fear taught you something maybe. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe it just passed like a storm. That's okay. Not everything needs a lesson. Sometimes time just washes it away. Think about relationships. The friend who stopped talking to you. The person who didn't text back. The crush who didn't like you. The breakup that shattered you. At the time, it felt like the end of the world. You couldn't imagine feeling normal again. But now you see it differently. Maybe you don't think about them at all. Or maybe you do, but they don't sting anymore. You carry the memory, not the pain. The same will happen with your current fears. The things that keep you up tonight will go quiet one day. Money brings a different kind of worry. It's sharp, it lingers, it affects your body. When you don't have enough, every bill feels like a threat. Every price tag feels personal. You calculate every meal, every gallon of gas, every overdue notice. It builds pressure. You get angry faster. You cry more. But even that stress can change. You might get a new job. You might get help. You might adjust your life in small ways that add up. You learn to make things stretch. You learn to ask for what you need. And one day, that specific fear might fade. A new one might take its place. But it will be different. Worry also attaches itself to health. A strange pain. A lump. A shadow on a scan. You Google too much. You wait for results. You count every heartbeat. Time stretches in those moments. It feels like your life is on hold. And then maybe the test comes back fine. Or maybe you deal with what it finds. Either way, the terror eases. The body adjusts. The mind softens. Even in bad news, there is often clarity. You stop guessing. You focus on what comes next. Sometimes worry sticks around. It circles you for years. But even then, it changes shape. It loses its edge. You stop flinching when you think about it. You build routines around it. You carry it with less effort. That's not weakness. That's strength. You get stronger by living through it. You're not stuck. You're just tired. And tired people still keep going. There's also worry about things you can't control. The world, the news, the future. You scroll too much, you read too much, you imagine every disaster. But the truth is, you're one person. You can care, you can act, but you can't carry everything. The mind knows that. It lets go piece by piece. You stop checking the headlines as often. You turn off the noise. You go outside. You drink water. You cook something. You keep living. You might not notice your progress. You don't get a badge for every fear you outgrow. But it happens. You've already survived so many endings. You've already forgotten so many sleepless nights. That's what worry does. It screams until you learn to tune it out, or until it runs out of energy, or until something else matters more, like laughter, like rest, like people who love you. One day, something you're scared of right now will be a distant memory. You won't even notice when it stops hurting. It will happen slowly, then all at once, like a door closing behind you. You won't hear the click, but you'll be on the other side, already moving forward. Your mind remembers what matters. It forgets what it can. It's trying to protect you. Let it. Let it drop the weight when it's time. Let it soften the edges. Let it blur the fear until it's just background noise. You've done this before. You'll do it again. And tonight, as you lie still and listen, remember this. You're already forgetting things that once felt unbearable. And that's not weakness. That's healing. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still learning how to let go. You began as cosmic dust. It sounds like a poetic idea, but it's not just poetry. It's science. Real, measurable, physical science. Every part of your body, your skin, your bones, your blood, your brain, came from matter that once drifted through space. At one point, it wasn't shaped into anything. It wasn't alive. It didn't think or move or breathe. It floated in the vacuum, cold and scattered. leftovers from stars that exploded long before Earth existed. Let's go back. Not back to your childhood, or even before your parents were born. Farther. Imagine the early universe, only a few minutes after the Big Bang. At that point, everything was hot and dense. No stars, no planets, no atoms like we know them now. Just hydrogen, helium, and a little lithium. The lightest elements, the building blocks. But those alone aren't enough to make people. You need carbon for cells, oxygen for breathing, iron for blood, calcium for bones, phosphorus for DNA. The universe didn't start with any of those. It had to build them. It built them inside stars. Inside the cores of massive stars, atoms smashed into each other. They fused. Hydrogen became helium. Helium became carbon. Carbon became oxygen, nitrogen, and all the rest. Over millions of years, the star made more and more of these heavier elements. It became a factory, pressing raw heat and gravity into new matter. But it couldn't hold forever. When a massive star runs out of fuel, it collapses under its own weight. The core shrinks in an instant. The outer layers explode. This explosion is called a supernova. It's bright enough to outshine an entire galaxy. In that moment, heavier elements form: iron, gold, uranium, and they blast out into space. That's where your dust began, not as dirt, but as pure particles flung from an exploding star, floating across the galaxy. These particles don't disappear. They gather into clouds. Over millions of years, gravity pulls them together. They start to clump and spin. They form new stars. Around these stars, some of the dust sticks together to make planets. One of those planets became Earth, and Earth itself was a violent place. Volcanoes, lava, constant collisions with asteroids. Life didn't spring up right away, but the ingredients were there. The carbon, the nitrogen, the water. It started small, just simple cells. Then, over billions of years, those cells evolved. They formed tissues, organs, systems. They learned to move, then crawl, then walk. They developed brains that could think. They became animals, then primates, then us. Now take your hand. Look at it. The calcium in your bones was forged in the heart of a long-dead star. The iron in your blood passed through a supernova. The oxygen you breathe came from the fusion of hydrogen in the early universe. You are literally built from stardust. You've heard this before, probably. We're made of stardust. It gets tossed around as a feel-good line. But sit with it. Imagine a star exploding billions of years ago. It dies so violently that it hurls its insides across light years. One tiny piece of that explosion floats through space, joins a cloud, helps form a planet, ends up inside a living cell, divides, grows, becomes a brain, becomes you. That's not poetry. That's what actually happened, and it didn't just happen once. Every atom in your body took a long, strange path to reach you. Some of it might have passed through dinosaurs. Some might have been in ancient trees, or in ocean water, or in a piece of iron buried in rock. It's been everywhere. It keeps getting reused. Nothing in you is new. Even the water in your body has been around for billions of years. It's cycled through storms and glaciers, through fish and rivers and plants. When you drink water today, it could have passed through the kidneys of a woolly mammoth. That's not exaggeration, that's chemistry. The molecules don't vanish, they move, they rotate through everything. Your body doesn't own its parts, you're borrowing them. They're on loan from the Earth, which borrowed them from space. One day your body will break down, your atoms will scatter again, back into the soil, the air, the water, back into the cycle. Some of them might join a tree, some might form another person, some might drift back into the sky. People fear death, that's normal. But think about this, the stuff you're made of doesn't die, it just changes shape, it spreads out. What you are isn't a fixed thing. It's a temporary arrangement, a brief structure, a way of holding energy and matter in one shape, just long enough to speak, to move, to feel something, then let it go. Right now, Your heart is beating with the help of particles that formed in a dying star. Your brain is firing with energy that's billions of years old. Your skin is held together by atoms that once floated through space. You are walking stardust, held together by chance, time, and heat. And the form you take is unique. There will never be another you made from this exact mix. But when you're gone, those pieces will keep going. Think about what that means. The matter that makes you has no beginning and no end. You are part of something older than Earth, older than light. You're not separate from the universe. You're made of it. You're one small temporary structure shaped by laws that never stop working. You live inside a brief moment, wearing a form built from ancient fire, and still, you worry. About rent, about love, about aging, about how you look in photos. It's all so close and heavy. But zoom out, way out. Picture yourself as a cluster of particles, animated for a little while, thinking its own thoughts. Then zoom out more. You're on a blue rock, spinning in space, lit by a star that's halfway through its life. That star will die one day too. But before it does, it will have made possible oceans, forests, languages, music, mistakes, laughter, and you. There's nothing mystical about it. No need to believe in magic. Just look at the facts. Matter doesn't disappear. It reorganizes. The universe keeps reshuffling the deck. New stars form, old ones collapse. Dust becomes planets. Planets grow life. Life turns to thought. Thought makes meaning. Then it all breaks down and starts again. So when you lie in bed tonight and your body slowly shifts into sleep, remember that you're not just lying on a mattress. You're a ripple of ancient dust, folded into the shape of a human being, resting for a little while on a planet that spins through the black. The same particles that drifted through supernovas now form your bones, your breath, your dreams. You began as cosmic dust, and someday you will be dust again. But in between, you get to be alive. That's the strange part. That's the rare part. That's the part you're in now. You've only seen reflections, not your real face. Not once. From the day you were born until now, you've only seen versions, images, mirrors, screens, reflections bouncing light back at you, but never your actual face, the one others see, the one that moves when you talk, twitches when you think, or tightens when you lie. Think about the last time you looked in the mirror. Maybe it was in the bathroom, brushing your teeth, or checking your hair before heading out. What you saw wasn't what the world sees. It was reversed. The left side appeared on the right, the tiny asymmetries. One eye slightly smaller, one corner of the mouth a little higher, were flipped. It's familiar to you because that's the version you've grown up with. The mirror self. But that's not your real face. That's a version only you ever get to know. Photos and videos, not the same either. A photo catches one angle, one moment, lit by one set of lights, frozen in time. It can be edited, filtered, distorted. It might show you squinting, blinking, laughing mid-sentence. None of those are you in motion. They're snapshots. They don't breathe. They don't feel. A video gets closer. You might hear your voice, see your expressions, the way your eyebrows raise or your mouth twitches. But it still isn't what people see in real life. It's filtered through lenses, processed by hardware, compressed, pixelated. You're looking at digital light, not skin, not eyes, not breath, not the weight you carry when you enter a room, not your presence, not the silence between your words. People build their own version of your face over time. They see you from their own angles, in their own lighting, through their own emotions. If someone loves you, they might see warmth in your eyes that you didn't know you had. If someone fears you, they might imagine sharpness in your jaw, coldness in your stare. You don't get access to any of that. You're shut out, locked outside your own expression. Now imagine sitting across from yourself, in real life, not in a mirror, not on a screen. Imagine watching your own face react to a story. How you lean forward, how your lips part when you're curious, how your eyes dart when you're unsure. You've never seen that. Not in real time, not raw. You've never seen how you look when someone makes you laugh so hard you snort, or when you zone out and stare at nothing, or when you realize you've made a mistake and your entire body shifts under the weight of it. You've never seen yourself reach out to someone you love, not the way they see it, not the look in your eyes, not the small softness in your fingers. You might think you know what that looks like. You don't. You've never watched yourself fall apart. If you've ever cried alone, you've probably done it in the dark or into a pillow, maybe in the mirror, maybe not. But the version of you that truly breaks down, silent, shaking, face raw, you haven't witnessed that, not from the outside. That version of you only exists for the room around you. The walls saw it, the bed, frame, maybe your cat. But you didn't. You think you know your smile, but you don't know the way it creeps in slowly when someone tells you something kind. You think you know your frown, but you've never seen the moment your shoulders drop, your eyes lose focus, and your whole face folds inward. You're the only person in the world who doesn't know what it's like to meet your eyes. You've made eye contact with others all your life, family, strangers, lovers, but never with yourself. Not really. Mirrors can't do that. You know that strange moment when you stare into your reflection and feel like something's off. Like you're staring at a stranger who just looks like you. That's not you being weird. That's your brain realizing something's wrong. You weren't built to see yourself like that. You weren't supposed to. Evolution never needed it. You know how it feels to look at someone you care about and see their face change when you say the right thing, or the wrong thing. You've seen people light up, shut down, smile without meaning it. You've read faces like maps, and someone has done the same to you. Many people, probably, but you've never gotten the chance to read your own. You don't know how you look when you lie. You think you do, but you don't. Maybe your eyes flick to the left. Maybe your nostrils flare. Maybe your lip curls, just slightly. Others might have noticed. You didn't. You don't know what your face looks like when you fall in love. Not the flirty grin you rehearse, not the forced laugh. The real moment. The one where your body goes still, and your breath catches and your face softens without you, even knowing you've never seen it. But someone else has, and they remember. Think about every time someone said, "You look tired," and you didn't realize it. Or, "You seem off today." You had no clue, because you can't see the thing they're seeing. It's outside of you. You live behind your own face, unable to witness the way it behaves in the world. You're a passenger. That means every time someone has loved your face, they were loving something you'll never fully understand. That version of you only exists in their memory. It walks with them. It lingers in their mind after you leave. You don't get to carry it. You don't get to see what your smile looks like in someone else's nostalgia. You don't even know your laugh, not the real one. Not the belly-deep, can't-stop one that takes over your whole body. You've never watched that ripple across your skin. You've felt it, sure. But that's not the same. Feeling isn't seeing. And when someone looks you in the eyes and tells you the truth, good or bad, you've never seen your face react. You've felt it inside, but not from the outside. You didn't see your mouth tighten, your eyes widen, your shoulders stiffen, but they did. And that moment lives in their memory, not yours. That's the great weirdness of being a person. You are you. You feel your thoughts, your breath, your fears, but you never really see yourself the way the world does. You don't get a front row seat to your own life. You're stuck in the control booth, behind the glass. So all this time, the face you show the world, the one that greets, frowns, smiles, cries, is a mystery to you, and always will be. You walk through a crowded street. Faces pass by, fast and forgettable. You don't stop to think much about them. A guy on his phone, a woman carrying groceries, a kid yelling at a parent. You notice them for a second, maybe less. And then they're gone. They vanish into your day like smoke. That's how we live, always moving, always filtering out what doesn't directly involve us. But stop for a second. Think about one of them. Pick any face you pass today. Now ask yourself, what are they thinking? That man on the phone could be getting fired. He might be explaining to his mother why he won't be home for Christmas. Or maybe he's hearing about the birth of his first child. That woman with groceries could be heading back to an empty house. Or she could be shopping for a big family dinner. Maybe she's worried she bought the wrong kind of bread because her teenage son only eats one brand, and he never says, "Thank you." That kid yelling at the parent. Maybe he's angry because his goldfish died this morning and no one explained why. Maybe he's tired and just wants to go home. Maybe he's 6 years old, and this is how 6-year-olds act. You don't know, you never will. But what you can know, what you can be sure of, is that each of them is living a life as full as yours. As complicated, as heavy, as messy. They have secrets they've never told. They have fears that visit them at night. They've made choices they regret. They've laughed so hard they cried. They've lost things. They've wanted things. They've sat alone and wondered what they're doing wrong. Just like you. You aren't the main character in their story. In fact, you probably aren't in it at all. But they aren't extras in yours either. They aren't background noise. They aren't props. They're people, just like you. They have an inner voice that never stops. That voice worries about what they said 2 days ago. That voice repeats the name of their first crush. That voice talks to itself in the shower, during meetings, while walking, while waiting in line. You hear your voice. They hear theirs, all the time. There's a word for this realization. It's called sonder. It's not a clinical term, just a made-up word that stuck because it works. It describes that sudden feeling, the jolt, when you grasp that everyone else is living a life as deep and real as yours. It's not something most people dwell on. It's not practical, but it's real. And once you feel it, it doesn't go away. It just hides in the background, waiting for a quiet moment, waiting for a slow walk, or a long train ride, or a half hour, stuck in traffic when you start looking out the window and really seeing people. Think of your worst day. Not the most dramatic one, just the one where everything went wrong. The kind of day where you spill coffee, forget your keys, say something stupid, miss a deadline, get home late, and cry in the bathroom. Now imagine someone else was in the room next to you. They didn't know what your day had been. They just thought you were cranky, or weird, or rude. That's how you've seen other people. That barista who didn't smile, that driver who cut you off, that coworker who didn't say hello. Maybe they were in the middle of that kind of day, or worse. Maybe they just found out someone died. Maybe they haven't slept in 2 nights. Maybe they're holding in something they don't know how to say. Now turn it around. Think about a time someone misunderstood you. Maybe they thought you were cold, or unfriendly, or difficult. You weren't. You were struggling. You were tired. You were overwhelmed, and they didn't know. They saw one version of you and made up the rest. That happens every day, in both directions. People only show pieces of themselves. You never see the full picture, even with people you know well, even with family, even with people you love. There's always more beneath the surface. A hidden drawer, a closed door, a memory they won't share, a thought they don't know how to explain. And yet, they wake up, they get dressed, they go to work, they smile when they're supposed to, they function, they blend in. You do the same. Everyone else is just as complex. You aren't the only one who wonders what's wrong with them. You aren't the only one who lies awake at night thinking about things that don't matter to anyone else. You aren't the only one who replays old arguments in your head, who makes fake conversations in the shower, who has panic attacks at the grocery store, who feels like a fraud sometimes, even when you're doing fine. Somewhere, right now, someone is worrying about money. Someone else is wondering if they're loved. Someone is thinking about ending a relationship. Someone is falling in love with a stranger they haven't met. Someone is practicing a joke in their head, hoping they get the timing right. Someone is angry and doesn't know why. Someone is staring at the ceiling, stuck between two choices. Someone is afraid to speak. Someone is afraid of silence. Someone is tired of pretending. Someone is praying. Someone is screaming into a pillow. Someone is dancing in their socks, alone in a kitchen, with no music. You will never meet most of these people. You won't know their names. You won't know their stories. You won't hear their voices, but they exist. They're real. They're carrying invisible weight, just like you. And the strange thing is, none of us really ever fully know each other. Not completely. We only know the version people let us see. The smile, the habits, the jokes, the silences. We fill in the rest with guesses. That's all we can do. But the guesses are never enough. There's always more, always another layer. So next time you see someone on the street, try to imagine it. Not just what they look like, but what they carry. Imagine the thoughts circling in their head, the loss they still feel, the hope they haven't let go of, the pain they've wrapped in silence. They've made mistakes. They've survived things. They've wanted to disappear and didn't. They've tried. They've failed. They've laughed at the wrong time. They've stared at the wall for hours. They've waited for a text that never came. They've been a child. They've been scared. They've been proud of something they couldn't explain. You are not alone in your complexity. You never were. You never will be. Everyone else is just as layered, just as broken, just as strong, just as confused, just as alive as you are. And they're all out there, moving through the world, looking at strangers, not realizing you're one of them. The person you are right now is not the same person you were 5 years ago. You might think of yourself as one steady thing, but in reality, you change all the time. Your thoughts, your feelings, your habits, even your body shift bit by bit, every day. Imagine the you from 5 years ago trying to talk to you now. You might find it hard to recognize them. The way you saw the world back then, the choices you made, the things you cared about, they belong to a different version of yourself. That old you doesn't exist anymore. You can't go back to that place or time. Think about how your favorite shirt changes over time. When it's brand new, it fits perfectly. The color is bright and it feels smooth. After wearing it for years, it looks worn out. The fabric thins, the color fades, and it doesn't feel the same. You are like that shirt. Time changes you, wearing away old thoughts and feelings, replacing them with new ones. You keep the shape of who you are, but the details shift and fade. The person you once were is like that worn-out shirt. Still part of the story, but no longer the same. Your body also shows this change clearly. You are not the same physical being you were 5 years ago. Your skin has healed and stretched, in places. Your muscles have grown or shrunk. Your cells have replaced themselves many times. It's a slow process, but it adds up. Each moment, your body builds a new version of itself, a new you. The old you is gone, replaced by the one you are now. Your memories add to this change. They shape who you are, but they are not perfect records. When you remember something, your mind reconstructs it. Each time you recall a memory, you change it a little, without realizing it. Imagine a photo copied many times over. Each copy loses some detail or adds a small mistake. Your memories work like that. Over time, they blur and shift, so the person holding them changes too. The old you lived with clearer versions of those memories. Now, they are faded and rewritten, making you a different person. Your feelings also show how much you change. 5 years ago, you might have felt one way about a person or a place. Maybe you loved something deeply, or you were afraid of something. Now those feelings could be very different or even gone. Imagine a river that flows past a rock. The water changes all the time, but the rock stays. Your feelings are like the water. They move, shift, and sometimes disappear. The old you felt those waters in one way. The new you feels them another. Your beliefs and ideas change too. When you were younger, you may have believed things without question. Maybe you trusted certain people completely or had simple views about the world. Over time, you learned more, changed your mind, and grew. Those old beliefs helped shape the person you were then, but they don't hold you now. Like a tree shedding, old leaves in fall, your mind lets go of old ideas to make room for new ones. The person you are today thinks differently than the person you were before. Even your habits change. 5 years ago, you may have done things one way. Maybe you had a routine or a way of speaking that felt natural. Now, those habits may have slipped away, replaced by new ones. You might have learned new skills or dropped old ones. Habits are like footprints in sand. They show where you've been, but they don't stay forever. The old you left those footprints, but the new you walks a different path. Relationships also mark this change. People who are close to you then might not be in your life now. Some friendships may have faded. Some people might have come and gone. The way you relate to others shifts as you grow. You are not the same person who formed those old bonds. The person you were 5 years ago lived inside different friendships, shared different moments, and felt those ties differently. Your goals and dreams show this change as well. The things you wanted back then may seem distant or strange now. Maybe you dreamed of a certain career or place to live. Maybe you hoped for things that no longer matter to you. Dreams can fade or transform as you gain new experiences. The old you chased one set of goals. The new you moves toward others. Each step changes the person walking the path. This change happens whether you notice it or not. Sometimes it feels slow and gentle, like a soft breeze turning the pages of a book. Other times, it feels sudden and sharp, like a wave crashing over you. But change happens. You cannot hold on to the old you, because the old you has already moved on. This can feel strange or even sad to think about. The idea that the person you were is gone forever can be hard to accept, but it is also a part of life. Change means growth. It means you have the chance to become someone new, someone better. You are not stuck in the past. You have the power to shape who you will be next. Think about a river again. The water flows, always moving forward, never staying the same. The river is the same river, but the water in it is always new. You are like that river. The person you were before was part of your journey, but they are not the whole story. You carry their memory, but you keep moving. When you feel lost or unsure, remember this. It is normal to change. It is normal to lose old parts of yourself. It means you are alive. You are not a fixed point in time. You are a story unfolding, a work in progress. The old you has left its mark, but it does not limit who you are now. The idea that the old you is gone forever is a reminder that life moves forward. You cannot go back to who you were, but you can move forward into who you want to be. Each day gives you a chance to learn, to grow, to change again. If you think about it this way, losing the old you is not a loss. It is a chance to become new. It is a door opening to possibilities you have yet to imagine. The person you are now is a fresh start, a new chapter waiting to be written. This change is slow and steady. It happens every moment, even when you don't notice. You might look back and see how far you have come without realizing it at the time. That is part of being human. You live in time, and time changes you. So, when you lie down to sleep tonight, remember the person you were before. Thank them for who they were and what they gave you. Then let them go, like a leaf floating down a stream. You are not that person anymore. You are here now, alive and ready for what comes next. The old you is gone forever, and that is okay. The idea that one photo will be your last can feel simple, but it holds a deep weight. Imagine this. Somewhere, right now, there is a picture that captures you exactly as you are. It might be a photo on someone's phone, a print in a dusty album, or a digital file on a hard drive, this photo freezes a single moment of your life. You might smile, frown, or just look normal. But the truth is, that picture will be the last one ever taken of you. After that, no more pictures will capture who you are. Think about how many photos you've seen in your life. You have pictures from birthdays, holidays, or casual days with friends. You might have photos from years ago that show a younger version of yourself. Some of those images bring back memories clearly, and others feel distant, like looking at a stranger. Now, imagine the very last photo someone takes of you. Maybe it is taken without you knowing it, or maybe it's a picture you pose for. Either way, it is the final frozen moment that will show the world what you looked like. It might be years, from now or soon, but it will happen. When you look at photos from the past, you see yourself from a moment in time that has already passed. You may notice how your face has changed, how your hair or style evolved, or how your surroundings looked. You can see a younger version of you who laughed or worried or was excited. You might see family members or friends who are no longer around. Photos remind us of the past and what we once were. Now think about what it means to be in a photo. A photo takes a piece of your life and holds it still. It catches light on your face, the way your eyes look, the shape of your smile, or the curve of your lips. It captures the clothes you wear and the place you are in. That photo becomes part of your story. It shows how you looked at a single point in time, but it cannot show who you really are inside. It cannot show your feelings, your thoughts, or your dreams. It can only show the outside, because every photo captures only a moment. The last photo of you will always be a moment stopped in time. No matter what happens after, that picture will stay the same. You might change a lot after that photo is taken. Your face might age, your hair might turn grey, or your expression might shift with new emotions. But that photo won't change. It stays fixed. If someone finds that picture years later, they will see you as you were then, but they will never see what came after. Imagine someone decades from now discovering your last photo. Maybe it's a great-grandchild or a historian. They see the image and wonder about you. They try to imagine the life you lived beyond that frozen moment. They might look for clues in your eyes, your clothes, or your surroundings, but all they have is that one image. They don't have your voice, your stories, or your laughter. They have only a frozen face, a silent memory. There is a quiet finality in knowing there is a last photo of you. It means that every smile you give now, every moment you share with others, every day you live, could be the one captured forever. This thought can be strange to hold. It can remind you that time is passing, that moments are slipping away like grains of sand through your fingers. You cannot stop time, and you cannot take back the moments you have lived. The last photo also connects to how we want to be remembered. Sometimes people want to look good in their pictures. They want to smile or pose in a way that shows happiness or strength. They want the photo to tell a story about who they are or how they want others to see them. But the last photo might not be perfect. It might catch you off guard, tired, or sad. It might be blurry or taken in poor light. It might not show your best side. Yet, it will still be the last picture. This idea makes us think about how we see ourselves versus how others see us. You might feel one way inside, but the photo only shows your outside. That image will never fully capture who you really are. No photo ever can. It is just a glimpse, a shadow of your life. But it is also permanent. It becomes a part of history, a record of a single instant. Think about all the photos you have seen of people who lived long ago. Maybe you have looked at black and white portraits of your great-grandparents. Those photos give you a window into the past. They show faces that once lived, eyes that once looked at the world. Yet, those people only exist now through the photos and stories that remain. Their last photo became their lasting mark. In the same way, your last photo will be part of your lasting mark. It will be proof that you were here, that you lived and breathed and moved through the world. It will be a small piece of evidence that you existed. Even if no one remembers your name or your story, that photo will still exist somewhere. It will carry your image forward in time. There is a quiet comfort in this as well. The last photo is not just about an ending. It is also about connection. It shows that you were part of a moment that someone thought was worth capturing. Someone held a camera, pointed it at you, and pressed the shutter. That moment was important enough to freeze. You were worth remembering. At the same time, the last photo reminds us that life is fragile. It can change without warning. People come and go, moments fade, and memories blur. The photo is a reminder to live fully now, to share your laughter, your love, your kindness while you can. Because one day, the last photo will exist, and all that will remain is that silent image. Think about how photos are used to remember loved ones after they are gone. Families gather around albums or digital frames to see images of those they lost. Those pictures become treasures. They hold memories and emotions. They remind people of the presence that once was. Your last photo will become one of those treasures for someone. The idea of a last photo also speaks to the way we preserve ourselves. Some people keep scrapbooks, journals, or recordings. Photos are one way to leave a mark. They are easy to share and hard to forget. They travel through time and space, crossing generations. At the same time, a photo cannot capture everything. It cannot hold a voice, a scent, or a touch. It cannot show the way you smiled in the dark or the sound of your footsteps on the floor. It cannot carry the warmth of your hug or the softness of your skin. It only holds the light and shadow of a moment. Still, that single photo will be the last piece of you many will ever see. It will be a final sign that you were here. It will hold your face frozen, a face full of life that once breathed, thought, and dreamed. This truth can feel heavy or light. It can make you think about your life and what you want to leave behind. It can remind you to live in the present and to cherish the moments that pass by. It can make you slow down and notice the people around you, the places you visit, and the feelings you hold. One photo will be your last. It will be the last picture someone takes. It will capture your face, your expression, your presence at one point in time. That photo will outlast you, holding a silent story for those who come after. And for now, as you rest and drift towards sleep, you might think about that last photo. Not with fear, but with calm. It is part of the life you live, a quiet mark on the endless river of time. Every heartbeat takes away one more moment from your life. You might not think about it often. It happens quietly, steadily, without a warning. But every beat counts down a little more time you have left. Imagine your heart like a clock, ticking away seconds, minutes, hours, days. Each beat is a tiny step closer to the end. It never stops. From the moment you were born, it has kept going. It never rests. Think about how your heart works. It pushes blood through your body. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients to every cell. Without it, your body would not survive for long. Your heart beats day and night, even while you sleep. It works hard so you can live. But with every beat, you lose a tiny bit of your time. People don't like to think about this. It feels uncomfortable to realize that time is limited. Most of us act like we have endless days ahead. But the truth is, life is a limited supply. The clock in your chest is a reminder of that fact. You can't stop the beats or turn back the time. Sometimes people feel young and full of energy and think they have forever. But even then, every heartbeat still takes you closer to your last moment. You might be in the middle of doing something you love, laughing with friends, or lost in a good book. And all the while, the quiet ticking of your heart goes on. It keeps moving forward no matter what. You might wonder how many heartbeats you have left. No one can say for sure. It depends on many things: your health, your lifestyle, your genes, and chance. Some people's hearts beat fast, others slow. Some hearts keep beating for many years, others for only a few. But for everyone, the heart counts down the moments of life. Imagine two people sitting next to each other. One is young, the other old. The young person's heart beats about 70 times a minute, more or less. The older person's heart might beat slower or faster depending on health. Still, both hearts beat each time they live a moment. Each heartbeat subtracts one from their remaining supply. For the older person, the supply is smaller, but the counting down is just as real. When your heart beats, it's not just a number. It's a rhythm, a pulse that connects you to your life. It's the sound that reminds you that you are alive. You can feel your heartbeat after running, or when you are scared. It gets louder in those moments, pounding in your chest, reminding you of your body's power. But even when you don't notice it, it still beats. Quietly, without a sound. Some people try to slow down their heartbeats by relaxing, meditating, or sleeping. These moments stretch time, or at least how you feel it. When you sleep, your heart slows. You rest your body. You might dream or drift quietly in darkness. Even then, your heart still beats. It doesn't pause. It continues to count the moments, taking away one beat at a time. It can help to think about your heartbeats in a new way. Instead of just a countdown, think of each beat as a chance to feel, to love, to see, to try. Each beat gives you another moment to live. Another moment to say something kind, to smile at a stranger, to listen to a song, or to watch the sky change colors at sunset. Your heartbeat is the rhythm of your story. When you are awake, your heart might beat faster. Your body moves, you think, you speak. When you are calm, your heart beats slower. You rest. Your heartbeat changes with your life. It responds to your feelings and your actions. If you get scared, it races. If you are sad, it may feel heavy. If you laugh, it feels light. Your heart listens to your life and beats along with it. Some people find comfort in knowing their heartbeat connects them to others. Every person on earth has a heartbeat. It is a sign of life, shared by all living things. When you hold a baby, you can hear their heartbeat fast and soft. When an old person sits quietly, their heartbeat may slow but still lives. Hearts are a reminder that life is fragile and precious. Doctors measure your heartbeats to check your health. They listen with a stethoscope or watch on a monitor. If your heart beats too fast or too slow, it can cause problems. Sometimes, the heart skips a beat or feels strange. That can scare people because it reminds them that life is delicate. But usually, the heart keeps going, steady and strong. You might feel your heartbeat when you lie down at night. You lie still in the dark. Your mind quiets. You notice the soft thump inside your chest. It is steady and calm, a pulse you can trust. The beat reminds you that you are alive, even when the world outside is silent. It is your constant companion, your rhythm in the night. The idea that each heartbeat takes away one more moment might sound scary, but it also makes life precious. Knowing that your time is limited can help you appreciate the moments you have. It can make you slow down and notice small things. The smell of rain, the warmth of sunlight, the softness of a pet's fur. These moments come and go, counted by the steady beat inside you. Think about a quiet afternoon when you watch the clouds drift. Your heart beats slowly, calm and steady. You don't rush or worry. You just watch and breathe. Each heartbeat counts this peaceful moment as part of your life. You live it fully because you are aware of it. That awareness makes the moment matter more. Some people say your heart has about 3 billion beats in a lifetime. That number sounds huge, but it is still limited. Every beat counts down from that huge number to 0. No one knows exactly when. It will stop, but it will. It is the final beat that ends your time on Earth. Until then, your heart keeps beating, marking your journey. You might try to protect your heart by living healthy. Eating well, exercising, and avoiding harm can keep it strong. People do this to add more beats, more moments to their life. But no matter how healthy you are, the heart still counts down. It is the natural rhythm of life. The heartbeat is also a symbol in many cultures. It stands for life, love, and connection. When you see a heart shape, you think of feelings and relationships. The heartbeat inside you is the source of those feelings. It keeps you alive to love and to be loved. It connects your body to your emotions in a way nothing else can. When you lie awake at night, feeling small in a big world, listen to your heartbeat. It is the sound of your life. It is the beat that keeps you here. It is steady and sure. It does not rush or slow without reason. It carries you through each day and night. It is your silent companion, marking the passage of time. Your heartbeat counts the moments you live, but it also counts the moments you dream. When your eyes close and your mind drifts, your heart keeps beating. It carries you through sleep and rest. It will be there when you wake up again, ready to start another day. Each heartbeat subtracts one moment from your life, but it also gives you one moment to live. It reminds you of your time on earth. It tells you that life is fragile and precious. It is a steady rhythm that never stops, carrying you through the days and nights of your story. So when you feel your heartbeat, remember it is a gift. It is the sound of your life moving forward, moment by moment. Each beat is a chance to live, to feel, to be here now, and that is something to hold on to as you drift off to sleep. You are one in billions. That means there are billions of people alive right now, each with their own thoughts, feelings, and stories. Think about a big stadium packed with people. Imagine you are just one person among that huge crowd. Each person in that stadium is living a life as real and important to them as yours is to you. You might look at someone standing nearby and wonder what they are thinking, what they hope for, or what they fear. But you can never know everything about them. You can only see a small part of their story. Even though you are one in billions, you are also unique. No one else thinks exactly like you. No one else has the exact memories you have, or the same way of seeing the world. Your brain works in a way that nobody else's does. You have your own way of feeling joy, sadness, excitement, and fear. Imagine if two people tried to describe a sunset. One might notice the orange color, while the other focuses on the cool breeze or the sound of birds. Both see the same sunset, but their experiences are different. That's how your life works too. Even though many people live in the world, your experience belongs only to you. Now think about how many people have lived before you. They are part of history, but their lives are gone. They cannot come back. Some might have been famous, and others might have lived quietly in small villages. None of them had the chance to live your exact life. The world has changed because of the people who came before you, but it also changes because of you. Every day your actions, your words, and your choices make a difference. Even if it feels small, you affect the world around you. You might wonder if being one in billions makes you feel small or unimportant, but it is the opposite. It means you belong to something bigger. Think about the ocean. Each drop of water might seem tiny on its own, but together they make a powerful sea. You are like that drop of water. You are part of the vast ocean of humanity. Your story is one drop that flows into the great river of all human life. Because there are billions of people alive, you meet only a small number of them in your lifetime. You walk past many people every day, but you only get to know a few. You share moments with family, friends, co-workers, and strangers who cross your path. Sometimes you might meet someone and never see them again. Other times, you build strong relationships that last years or even decades. Every person you meet changes you a little. Even a brief conversation or a smile can leave a mark. Imagine a giant web where every person is a point, and the connections between them are the threads. Your web stretches out to include your family, friends, neighbors, and even people you do not know but hear about in the news or online. This web is growing every second because new people are born and others pass away. You are part of that web, and your connections matter. When you help someone, smile at a stranger, or listen to a friend, you strengthen the web. Even small acts of kindness make the world a little better. But being one in billions also means you share certain experiences with others. Everyone faces hard times, like loss, fear, or loneliness. Everyone wonders about life and what happens after death. These questions are part of being human. You might feel alone sometimes, but many people feel the same way. Knowing this can bring comfort. You are not the only one searching for answers or trying to understand yourself. Others walk the same path, even if their journey looks different. Think about how quickly life moves. In 1 year, billions of moments happen. People laugh, cry, fall in love, get hurt, learn new things, and say goodbye. Some moments stay in memory forever. Others disappear like footprints in the sand, erased by the waves. Your life is a collection of moments too. Some are big and clear, like a birthday or a first kiss. Others are quiet and small, like a morning cup of coffee or the sound of rain. Each moment is part of your story. Because you are one in billions, your life is also connected to the future. The choices you make today affect not only you, but others who come after. Think about planting a tree. You might never see it fully grown, but one day, someone else will sit under its shade. Your actions can have a lasting impact, even if you don't see it right away. This is true for simple things like being kind, learning new skills, or sharing what you know. Now consider how many people are alive in other parts of the world. They live in cities, towns, or villages you might never visit. They speak different languages, eat different foods, and celebrate different holidays. Their lives might be very different from yours, but they feel many of the same things. Joy, pain, hope, and fear are universal. Being one in billions means your experience is part of a global story that crosses borders and cultures. You might sometimes feel like you don't belong, or that the world is too big and confusing. This is normal. Everyone feels this way at some point. But remember that even if you feel small, you are part of a huge community. Imagine a night sky filled with stars. Each star is like a person. Some stars shine brighter, some are dim, but each one has its place in the sky. You are like a star, shining your own light. Your light adds to the whole sky. The idea of being one in billions can also remind you to appreciate the time you have. Life is short compared to the history of the Earth or the universe. You have only one life, one chance to experience this world. It is okay to feel uncertain or scared sometimes. These feelings are part of being human. You don't need to have all the answers. Sometimes it's enough to just be here, living and learning. Think about your daily routine. You wake up, eat, work, laugh, talk, and sleep. These simple actions are part of what connects you to others. When you smile at someone, you share a moment that could brighten their day. When you listen to a story, you learn something new and become part of that person's life. These small connections add up to something bigger. Being one in billions also means you share the same planet with everyone else. The Earth is your home, but it also belongs to countless other people and living things. This can make you feel responsible. You might wonder how your actions affect the environment, animals, or future generations. Even small changes, like recycling or saving water, can make a difference. You are part of the web of life. When you think about being one in billions, you might also think about time. You live in a moment that will never come again. The people around you are also living unique moments. Tomorrow will bring new experiences for all of you. This constant change is part of what makes life interesting and sometimes hard. Imagine if you could travel through time and meet the person you were 5 years ago. You might find someone very different. That person had different hopes and fears. You have changed since then, and you will keep changing. Being one in billions means your life is not fixed. It moves forward like a river flowing toward the future. Same is true for everyone else. People change, grow, and sometimes leave. You might lose contact with old friends or family members, and that can feel painful. But new people will come into your life too. Being one in billions means you live in a world full of beginnings and endings. In this world, you have the power to choose. You can decide how to spend your time, who to care about, and what to believe. You can learn new things, help others, and explore new places. These choices shape who you are and how you connect with the billions of people around you. Sometimes, it helps to remember that you are not alone. Even if it feels like the world is too big or you are too small, you are part of a story that includes everyone. Your life matters because you live it. You are one in billions, but you are also one whole person with your own path. So, when you feel lost or unsure, think about the many people who share your journey. Think about the connections you have made and will make. Think about the small moments that make up your life. They are part of something much bigger than yourself, and that is a thought you can carry with you as you rest and fall asleep. Places outlive people. It's a simple truth that can feel strange when you stop to think about it. The buildings, roads, parks, and fields where you live, work, or play will still be there long after you're gone. They will outlast you by years, decades, or even centuries. The world keeps turning, and places remain even when the people who once walked through them disappear. Take a small town, for example. Imagine a quiet street lined with houses. Every house has seen families grow up, friends come and go, and stories told on porches. The houses hold memories in their walls, but those memories don't belong to the houses. They belong to the people. When those people leave or pass away, the houses stay. They might get old and worn, but they remain there, waiting for new stories to happen inside them. The same goes for cities. Tall buildings rise and fall, but the streets beneath them remain the same. Sidewalks feel the steps of millions who have passed, each person with their own worries and dreams. But the concrete doesn't care. It doesn't forget or feel. It just is. It remembers nothing, but it lasts. One day, you might walk down a street where someone else lived hundreds of years ago. Their life is gone, but the place where they lived still stands, or at least the spot where it once stood. Places are often thought of as a kind of silent witness. They see everything that happens, the joy, the sadness, the everyday moments. A park where children play today might have been a battlefield centuries ago. A quiet field might have been a meeting place for ancient tribes. The earth beneath your feet holds a deep history that stretches far beyond your lifetime. You might visit a place that has changed over time, like a school or a church. When you step inside, you feel the echoes of all the people who sat in the same seats or prayed, in the same pews. Even though those people have moved on, the place keeps their presence alive in a way. But that presence is only a shadow. It's not alive in the same way people are. This difference between people and places shows how time works. People live for a limited time. Their bodies age and their memories fade, but places made of stone, wood, and earth last longer. Sometimes they change. A river might change course, or a forest might grow or shrink, but the place itself remains. It carries on through time, carrying the weight of history, even when people forget the stories. Places also shape who we are. The neighborhoods where you grow up, the parks you visit, the streets you walk. These places influence your thoughts and feelings. They help form your memories and your sense of self. When you move away, the place stays, but you carry a part of it with you. Even if you never return, a place can live inside your mind. Think about a family home. It might be a simple house, but it holds years of life inside. Birthdays celebrated, meals shared, arguments and laughter. After the family moves on or grows smaller, the house stays empty. It stands there like a quiet reminder of the lives that once filled it. Someone else might buy it, or it might be left to decay. Either way, the place lasts beyond the people who loved it. Even natural places outlast people. Mountains, rivers, and oceans have been here far longer than humans. They have witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations. A tree might live hundreds of years, far longer than any one person. When you stand in a forest, you are standing in a place that has existed for generations and will continue long after you are gone. There is something humbling in knowing that places outlive us. It reminds us of how small we are in the grand scale of time. Our lives are brief moments, flashes of light, but places endure. They hold the traces of countless lives and events. You might walk a path where someone long ago took their first steps, or where people met to make important decisions. Yet, places are not just empty containers. They shape stories and connect people across time. A battlefield can be a reminder of sacrifice. A monument can hold meaning for a whole community. A street corner can be where people gather, talk, and share life. These places gain meaning because of people. Without people, places are just space. The fact that places outlast people also raises questions. What will remain of you when you are gone? What traces will you leave behind? Will the places you love remember you in any way? Sometimes the answer is yes, but more often, the place itself will survive while memories fade. Your impact on the place might last through the people you touch, rather than the place itself. In a way, places connect past, present, and future. You live in the present, but the place you are in carries the past. It waits silently for the future, for people who don't yet exist. This connection is part of what makes places feel meaningful. When you walk through an old neighborhood or a historic site, you become part of a long chain of people who came before you and will come after. Sometimes places change so much that they no longer feel the same. A town might grow into a city, or a forest might be cleared to build houses. These changes can make a place lose its old character. Still, the place itself remains a place. It keeps going, shaped by new people and new stories. Places outliving people is also a reminder to care for them. Because they last longer, the choices made today affect tomorrow. If a place is damaged or destroyed, it is a loss for future generations. Preserving places, whether natural or man-made, keeps the connection between past and future alive. Imagine a grand old tree in a park. It has stood there for 100 years. It has seen children grow up, birds build nests, and seasons change. It will likely still be there long after you leave this world. In that way, it carries the history of everyone who has ever sat beneath its branches. This idea can feel comforting or lonely. On one hand, it means something will remain after you are gone. On the other hand, it reminds you that people come and go, but the earth stays. The place doesn't miss anyone. It doesn't. Remember, it just is. Still, there is power in that. Knowing that places outlive people can inspire us to be part of the story, to live well in the places we inhabit, to leave behind memories and marks that matter to others, to understand that while our time is brief, the places around us continue, holding the stories of many lives. Every place has its own life in a way. It changes slowly, shaped by wind, rain, and human hands. It has history, and it carries meaning for those who know it. Places connect us to time beyond ourselves. They remind us that life moves forward, even when individual stories end. So when you walk down a familiar street or visit a favorite spot, remember that place is older and will live longer than you. It holds a silent promise that life goes on. It will keep going long after any one person has left. Places outlive people. It's one of the few certainties that quietly surround us every day. Imagine for a moment that there isn't just one version of you living this life. Imagine that at every choice point, a different version of you stepped off on another path. This other, you might have chosen a different school, moved to a different city, or taken a job you never even considered. These other versions of you live in places that your mind can barely touch. They are like shadows of possibilities, each shaped by a choice you didn't make. Think about the last time you faced a decision, a big one or a small one. Maybe you debated whether to say yes to a new opportunity or to stay where you were. Maybe you paused before sending a message, wondering how the other person would respond. Every moment like that splits your life into different tracks. On one track, you said yes. On another, you said no. On yet another, you waited too long, and the chance slipped away. These other versions of you don't exist in some faraway fantasy world. They live in the quiet corners of your mind, in the things you wonder about when you are alone or drifting off to sleep. They are the faces you imagine when you think, what if? What if you had taken that trip? What if you had stayed in touch with an old friend? What if you had followed a different dream? Those questions bring these other yous to life. Each choice you make changes your life in some way, big or small. Choosing to get out of bed on a cold morning might lead you to meet someone new. Skipping breakfast could mean missing a chance encounter. Saying something kind or harsh can change the way a day goes. The small decisions build the path you walk on, and every turn means a different version of you grows stronger. For example, imagine a version of you that never moved away from your hometown, that you might know all the familiar streets and faces. Well, you might run into old friends at the coffee shop or take the same route to work every day. That version of you has a different story. A story shaped by comfort and history, but also by things you will never experience, like the excitement or fear of a new place. Now imagine another version of you who took a risk and moved to a far city or even another country, that you faces challenges like learning new customs, making new friends, and adapting to new routines. That version feels the thrill of discovery and sometimes the sting of loneliness. They live a story filled with change and growth, shaped by the choices you didn't make, but that still belong to you in a way. These other yous don't have to be distant or strange. Sometimes, they are the people you see in the mirror when you wonder if you might have been different, if you had done something else. They are in your habits, your likes, and your dislikes. When you wonder about the life you might have had, you are visiting these other versions, even if just for a moment. It can be strange to think of these other yous as real, but they help explain why you sometimes feel torn or restless. They remind you that life is not fixed, but full of possibilities. They show how even small choices matter, because each one leads to a different path and a different story. The idea of other versions of you also teaches something about change. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago. In fact, the you from 5 years ago is a different person in many ways, shaped by different experiences, different choices, and different moments, that you no longer exists except in memory and in the stories people tell. The person you are now carries pieces of that you, but you are also new, changed by everything you've done since. Sometimes you might meet someone who knew the old you. They might remind you of things you forgot, or make you see yourself in a new light. When that happens, you can feel the distance between the versions of yourself across time. You are both the same person and not quite the same. It's helpful to think of your life as a story with many chapters, where each chapter offers a choice. At every page, you decide where to go next, and every decision creates a new version of the story. The chapters you didn't write belong to other versions of you, and they are just as real in the world of possibility. Sometimes, this idea can feel heavy. It might make you wonder what would have happened if you had done things differently, but it can also be freeing. It means you are never stuck. You always have the chance to change course, to make new choices that lead you somewhere new. Every day gives you a fresh start, a blank page, and the chance to become a new version of yourself. You might find comfort in knowing that the other versions of you, the ones who made different choices, are part of your story, not a mistake or a loss. They are proof that your life is alive and full of potential. Even if you cannot meet them, even if you will never know exactly how their stories end, they are connected to you. It's also important to remember that the other yous do not live separate from you. Their lives shape your feelings and your thoughts. When you feel regret or curiosity about a path not taken, that's a way the other versions of you speak to your present self. They remind you that life is full of what-ifs and maybe laters, and that's part of what makes it rich and complex. Imagine a simple choice like turning left or right at an intersection. You took one path, but the other path still exists somewhere in your mind. What would have happened if you had turned the other way? Would you have found something new? Would you have met someone important? The question stays with you, and the other you walks that road in a parallel story. In stories and movies, sometimes characters meet their other selves. They see what could have been and face the truth of who they are now. Real life doesn't work like that, but thinking about other versions of yourself can give you insight. It can help you understand your feelings, your fears, and your hopes. Sometimes, the other versions of you are easier to admire than your current self. You might imagine a braver, smarter, or happier you somewhere else, doing things you wish you could do. But those versions don't live in a perfect world. They have struggles and doubts too. Their lives are shaped by choices that come with both rewards and costs. Your life, with all its mistakes and moments of joy, is the one you have. The other versions remind you that every choice matters, but they also show that there is no perfect path. Every version of you faces hard times and good times, losses and gains. They are all part of the human experience. When you think about other yous, you can also think about the future. The person you will be tomorrow or next year is another version of yourself waiting to be created. You get to decide, in part, who that will be by the choices you make today. You carry the power to shape the story that you will live next. Some days, thinking about other versions of yourself might make you feel small or lost, but it can also remind you that you are bigger than one moment, one choice, or one feeling. You are the sum of all the possibilities you have touched and the ones you have yet to touch. Your life is not fixed, but a river that flows and changes, full of branches and forks. This view can help when you feel stuck or unsure. It means you are not limited to who you are now or what you have done before. You can become someone new, try new things, and find new paths. The other versions of you are proof that change is possible and that your story is still unfolding. So when you wonder who you are or what might have been, remember the other versions of you, the ones who made other choices, lived different days, and walked other roads. They are part of your life's rich fabric, and they remind you that life is a collection of moments shaped by decisions, chance, and time. Your story is yours alone, but it connects to all the other stories you might have lived. Each one matters, and each one teaches something about who you are now. The other yous live in your mind, your heart, and your memories. They wait quietly, reminding you that you are many things at once, and that every choice is a chance to become something new. Pets won't know you're gone. Think about your dog or cat right now. They live completely in the moment. They don't plan for the future, and they don't worry about the past. When you leave the room, they might wait by the door. They might whine or look around for you, but if you never come back, they won't understand what happened. They won't grasp the idea of forever. They won't know you are gone for good. To them, you just disappeared, like a favorite toy lost under the couch. Pets rely on routines and familiar faces. They feel safe when their person is near. When that person isn't there, they might become confused or scared. Dogs can get anxious. Cats might hide or act differently. But they don't have the same sense of time that humans do. A few hours without you might feel like a long time. Days might blend together. Weeks might pass without them realizing the full truth. Imagine your pet waiting for you at the door every day, even if you left months ago. The same spot by the window where you used to sit is still empty. The sound of your footsteps on the stairs doesn't come anymore. They might grow sad or lonely, but they don't understand loss the way people do. They live in the now. That is how they experience the world. Pets do remember you. Your dog knows your voice, your smell, your touch. Cats remember the way you pet them and the sound of your laughter. These memories make them happy. They give comfort, but memories for pets are not like human memories. They don't think back and feel grief or regret. Instead, they recall feelings connected to you: warmth, safety, fun times. When you're gone, those feelings might fade with time. When you think about losing a pet, it feels terrible. But from your pet's view, losing you is just as confusing and painful. They might wait at the door every day, hoping you will come home. They don't understand why you left. They don't know if you will ever return. The sadness in their eyes comes from this confusion and hope. Pets show love in ways we can see clearly. Your dog might wag its tail and jump up to greet you. Your cat might curl up on your lap. When you are gone, they lose that connection. They lose a big part of their world, but they keep living because that's what they do. They adapt. They find new ways to cope. Some pets find new owners who care for them. They learn to trust again. They get new smells and new voices to remember. But that doesn't erase their first love for you. That first bond shapes their whole life. Your pet's loyalty is deep and simple. It doesn't depend on words or ideas. It depends on presence, being there day after day. If you imagine a dog left alone after its owner dies, you see a silent sadness. The dog doesn't understand the finality of death. It waits and waits. It listens for sounds that never come. It feels an empty house and wonders where the person went. This emptiness is real for the dog, even if it can't name the cause. The dog's heart breaks in its own way, without words or tears. Cats react differently. They may hide in quiet places. They might stop eating. They don't cry out for help like dogs might. Their grief is quieter, but no less real. They show it by withdrawing or becoming restless. Sometimes they stare out windows as if waiting for someone who will never return. People often say pets teach us about love. They love us without conditions or judgment. They forgive quickly and forget fights. They don't hold grudges. Their love is pure and simple. When they lose us, that love turns into confusion and longing. It's hard to watch a pet grieve because we know what they don't, that this loss is forever. Many pet owners try to protect their animals from pain. They want to keep the good times going. They want pets to stay happy and healthy. But the truth is, pets live in the moment and feel every change deeply. When someone important disappears, pets feel it too. They might not say it or cry like humans, but their sadness is real. In shelters, you can see this sadness in many animals. They wait for someone to come back or to find a new home. Some stay hopeful, wagging tails or rubbing against visitors. Others look away, defeated. They live each day hoping for a familiar face, a hand to pet them, a voice to call their name. This is why pets matter so much. Their lives are tied closely to ours. They don't understand time or death, but they feel the loss. They miss the warmth of a person who was their world. They miss the sounds and smells that made life safe. You might think your pet will be fine if you leave the room or the house for a while. But if you never come back, the pet's world changes forever. The loss is silent but deep. It shapes how they live the rest of their lives. Some pets don't show their grief outwardly. They may keep eating and playing, but inside, something is missing. Their trust and joy don't return fully. They live with a quiet hole in their hearts. You can see this in older pets who have lost their owners. Sometimes they become less active. They sleep more. They search less. It's as if their hope slowly fades. They might find comfort in new people. But the first bond is hard to replace. When you think about your pet, remember this. They love simply and fully. They don't understand what it means to lose you. They only know the pain of your absence. They don't have words to make sense of it or time to heal slowly. They live in a world where you were everything, and then suddenly you were gone. That is why the thought, pets won't know you're gone, holds so much weight. It shows how different we are from animals. We understand death and loss. We remember. We feel grief. Pets do not. They only feel a change in the world around them. They feel a hole where love once lived. If you have a pet now, take time to be with them, play with them, pet them, talk to them. These moments mean everything. They build the memories your pet will hold in their heart, even if they don't understand how long those memories will last. When your pet looks at you with love, they trust you completely. They believe you will stay no matter what. That trust is a gift. It's fragile and precious. It reminds us how important it is to be present and kind. One day, when you are gone, your pet might still wait. They might still search for you. They might not know why, but they feel the loss deeply. Their love doesn't fade because their understanding can't catch up. This silent waiting is their way of holding on. It is their way of showing love when words fail. It is a reminder that even without knowing, pets carry us with them. Not in memory or story, but in feeling and presence. Pets won't know you're gone, but they will feel it. They will carry it quietly inside. And that feeling, simple as it is, shows how much you mattered to them. You're lying in the dark on a small rock, spinning slowly through the vast emptiness of space. You don't feel the motion, and you don't feel the silence, but it's there all around you. You are far from any other living thing. The ground beneath you looks solid, but this rock is just a speck compared to the universe around it. Imagine standing outside on a clear night, looking up at the stars. Now think about how many stars you can see. Thousands, millions. Every point of light is a sun, and around many of those suns, other rocks like yours drift through space. None of those places know you exist. None of them wait for you to come home. This rock you call Earth spins once every 24 hours. It orbits the sun, a glowing ball of fire, once every 365 days. But the sun itself moves through space at an incredible speed, carrying your rock with it. You are on a tiny moving target that travels through the blackness, surrounded by cold and silence. You might imagine you are the center of this world. You wake up, go about your day, make plans, and live your life. But in the grand scheme of things, your life is brief and small. The Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. Humans have been here for only a blink of that time. Your entire life fits into a tiny fraction of Earth's history. You eat, you breathe, you move, and you think. But your body is not the same from one day to the next. It changes slowly, piece by piece. Your skin sheds, your blood flows, your bones renew themselves. You are a constant flow of new cells and old cells dying off. Even though your body changes, you feel like the same person. This feeling of being you is something your mind holds onto tightly. Your thoughts are private. No one else hears them. You think in words and images that only you understand fully. Others see the outside of you, but no one can step inside. Your mind, your inner life is your own. This makes you special and alone at the same time. Memories are strange. You think you remember events clearly, but each time you call them up, your brain rebuilds the memory. It's like making a copy of a copy. Details change. Some parts get lost or added. You might swear you remember something a certain way, but you could be wrong. This is why two people can remember the same event differently. Your memories are not facts stored in a box. They are stories you tell yourself. Some nights, you lie awake and wonder about the stars. Some of those stars you see might already be gone. Their light travels for many years before reaching your eyes. The star could have died long ago, but because the light takes so long to arrive, you still see it shining. This means when you look up, you are looking into the past. You are seeing events that happened long before you were born. Imagine the last sunset you will ever see. You don't know when it will be. It could be years, decades, or longer from now. When that last sunset happens, you won't know it is the last until much later. You will miss it without realizing it at the time. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago. Your thoughts, your feelings, your body, and even your habits have changed. The you from that time no longer exists. You carry their memories, but that person is gone. This means you are always moving forward, always becoming someone new. Every person you meet is passing through your life like a traveler on a train. Some stay a long time, others are only there for a moment. Most people will leave without saying goodbye, and you will do the same to others. Life is a series of meetings and farewells. Your body is made from the remains of stars that died long ago. Elements like carbon, oxygen, and iron were created inside stars that exploded. When these stars died, their material spread through space, eventually coming together to form Earth and you. This means you carry the history of the universe inside you. You have already met some people for the last time without knowing it. There were moments you thought you would see them again, but life did not give you that chance. This is true for everyone. Life moves in ways we cannot always predict. Dreams are fragile. You have many dreams while you sleep, but you forget most of them soon after waking. The images and feelings fade quickly, slipping through your mind like water through your fingers. Some dreams feel real while you have them, but they vanish fast. There are many places on Earth you will never see. Vast oceans, tall mountains, deep forests, and wide deserts exist beyond your reach. They are full of life and mystery, and they carry on without you. Your childhood home will one day belong to someone else or disappear completely. Houses change hands, neighborhoods shift. Time erases what was once familiar. The places where you grew up will become memories for others. Worries that seemed so important last year now feel distant and small. Time changes how you view problems. Things that once kept you awake at night lose their power. This process will continue as you live your life. If you trace your life back far enough, you began as a collection of atoms. Those atoms were once part of stars, clouds of gas, and dust. You started as a spark of potential, a chance for life to happen. Now, you are a person with thoughts, feelings, and stories. You have never seen yourself truly. Mirrors show a reflection, but it's just light bouncing back at you. Photos capture an image, but they are only flat pictures. Your true self is something you feel inside, but it cannot be seen directly by your own eyes. Every person on Earth has an inner life as rich and complex as yours. They have hopes, fears, memories, and dreams just like you. Yet you will never fully understand what it's like to be them. Each person is a mystery to everyone else. One day, a photo of you will sit in a drawer or album, a reminder that you once lived. The people who find it may not know your name or story. You will become a memory or a stranger in history. Every heartbeat moves you closer to the end of your life. Your body counts time in beats and breaths. Each moment is precious and limited. You are one among billions living on this planet right now. Many others live their lives alongside you. Before you, countless people lived and died. After you, many more will come. Places you have been will last long after you are gone. Mountains, rivers, and cities endure through time. They hold the marks of your life, but will continue without you. If the universe is infinite, every possibility exists somewhere. There could be versions of you who made different choices and lived other lives. Your story is just one thread in a vast tapestry of existence. Your pets love you, but they will not understand when you are gone. They know your presence but cannot grasp absence in the way humans do. Right now, as you lie still and quiet, you are floating on this rock, moving silently through space. The universe doesn't stop or wait. You are a brief spark in a long, endless night. Yet, here you are, alive and aware, holding your story in the silence.